Welcome, everybody, to Movies, Music, and Mayhem. I'm your host, Rachel Silvestrini. It's been a little bit of a weird week, I'm not going to lie, but I'm so excited to have this guest on. We've been friends for I don't even know how long at this point, but he is legitimately, you guys know how I feel about my Canadians, but like, this is like my favorite LA Canadian because I got to see him all the time and we used to hug and like he'd show me shit that he was working on and we would hang out all the time and I miss him dearly. Guys, everybody, amazing Patrick Hogue.
Hi, Rachel. I miss you.
I miss you too. Now, real quick before we get into this, because we are going to be laughing and all this stuff, we need to do a quick tribute and a shout out and sending of loves. Guys, take 5 seconds out of your time right now. Go onto Twitter or Facebook and send Paul Preston some love because sadly, the great Dr. Marvin, his snugglebutt pup has sadly passed. He was 16 though, so like lived a good life. Yeah. He's also kind of like one of the smarmiest dogs I've ever met in my life because he was missing one eye and it was sewn shut, so he constantly looked like he was winking. And like the only thing cuter than a corgi is a winking corgi, and he was constantly winking. So he was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. So guys, send your love and hugs to Paul Preston. He really, really, really needs it. And we have somebody in the chat who's very excited for you. Brandy is. Hi.
Brandy, hi. Welcome to this one. A big personality around the PJ Campbell Network. Brandy, we love you. We always love you.
Everywhere, and I absolutely love her. She supports everyone, and she's just like this beautiful ray of sunshine that goes everywhere and like just lights all of our paths.
Especially in this moment of reflection, like if you need a moment of positivity, Brandy will be there just to be like, nope, I got your back. We're happy. We're positive. We're don't worry. You got friends here.
She's like the very gentle version of me. Because if you need to pick me up, if you're feeling sorry for yourself or whatever, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're amazing. Like, stop it.
Rachel,
like, do you need a hug or do you need a shot? Or do you need both? Like, I don't care.
You're the chemical X that brings like the Powerpuff Girls, aka everybody's happiness together. Don't you worry.
I'm just aggressive love. That's all I am. I'm just 100% aggressive love.
We want nothing more.
I think, which is why I think it's something that attracts Canadians.
It's kind of an element because it's like aggressiveness really isn't in our repertoire in a lot of ways, except when it's like hockey. Like
I was about to say, unless you put on some skates and get on the ice. Yeah,
we have very clear things to get it out, to get our aggression out. Even people just watching hockey, it gets into like, rip his. Are we allowed to swear on this show? I don't want to.
Of course, it's my show.
No, it's like rip his fucking head off, eh? Let's just like come on and like I want to see blood on this ice, and they're
like the nicest people in the parking lot, and as soon as you get inside the arena, they're like, tear his fucking head off, eh?
Just come on, eh? Like, man, this hoser really needs to get a lesson coming to him, you know?
If you win, I'll buy you some poutine. Let's go.
Come on. I got Tim Hortons riding on this one. We got to make sure I got some Timbits. It's like we've hit most of the generic like Canadian stereotypes. It's moose meat and maple syrup is coming up.
I mean, I'm not going to talk about moose meat because that's the saddest part. But like, I will talk about poutine and Canadian bacon and syrup and all that loveliness because, as you are very well aware of, I love me some fucking Canada. Canada, do I love you? Like, I'm legitimately waiting for the day that the border opens up so I can go to Vancouver to go to my favorite donut place. Like, it's just a trip.
Truly just like the idea that it's right there and that anybody could just go visit, like go to Nova Scotia where I'm from, go to Toronto, go to like Vancouver and just, I don't have the full range of Canadian experience. I moved to the US when I was very young, but I still have that like national pride in me, and anything that people bring up in terms of we love Canada, I'm like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? And like I have that little extra being like, and it's where I'm from too.
It's just the best. Like I legit have like 2 of my best friends now live in Seattle, and I can't go to visit them until I'm able to hop on a train to go over the border to go to Vancouver. Like,
Yep.
like I'm like I and they understand. I'm like, guys, I love you, but I can't go until I can get some bacon or some like vegan poutine at Stormcrow or go to Cardam's
Because
and
it
get
needs
some
to be
Noah.
authentic. And if you're there, you got to take advantage of the opportunity. It's like, I love you. I truly love you all. Yeah, I'll be right back. Give me a second.
Now, see, we don't get to do this stuff as somebody who grew up in California. We don't get to travel to other states for field trips, let alone countries.
But this is the thing. I lived in upstate New York, Brandy. I didn't know you were from there. Like, I never visited Canada because I was lazy and in high school and college and didn't have expendable income because I'm not an adult. But now with the lack of access to that, I'm like, yeah, I would want nothing more than just to go see like authentic, like, they have tapping tree plants where like you can see how they make maple syrup. They give tours of, beer.
The Molson factory.
Yeah, you can just like experience Canadian lifestyle, and there's a part of me that's going to take a couple years in the future to just like get in touch with my heritage.
I honestly am a little bit jealous of the kids that are like in their like mid to late teens right now, because they're experiencing like this they're experiencing what we're experiencing right now. Like there's this bottled up, like, can't go anywhere. I want to go places. I'm growing up. I want to explore things. And like, that's just like a feeling that you get when you're that age anyway. But now it's just like, it's so much bigger and so much more. But now once the world starts opening back up, they're the perfect age to just be like, fuck this. I'm going and traveling the world.
Yeah.
Without their knees hurting after a 5-hour flight, like
the amount of like existential crises that have happened during 2020 to 2021 that will really make people have that urge and that feeling to, I don't want that to happen again and stop me from experiencing life, to travel. Like, I've always wanted to go to Ireland, and like being kind of stuck in a place for a year and like, however many months it's going to be really makes me think, okay, let's make that a priority sooner than later, because who knows when we have to quarantine again and all that kind of like weird stuff.
I will say that Ireland is one of the countries I definitely plan to go back to. I've been there twice. I was there on Halloween, and let me tell you, it was
cool.
I would like to say unforgettable, but I was so drunk that there's very like large black spots in that night. But I do remember us partying all night, and my flight was at like 9:00 the next morning to fly from Ireland, or to fly from Dublin to, I want to say it was I think it was London.
And so that's across like, that's a distance.
It's like you hop on a pond hopper. Like, it's not that far. It's not that long. It's like less than an hour flight, but like,
oh, okay, that's not bad.
But we were still partying at like, it's an international flight. You're supposed to be there early. Did not get there early. Still had like I was literally on the bus to the airport with like wet wipes, like wiping my Dia de los Muertos makeup off. Because I had decided that I was what was I that year? I was like an Amy Winehouse Dia de los Muertos. So like my hair was like super pumped up.
Yep.
And just like, but we'd been partying all night. So it was like half deflated, and my makeup was like coming off, and I'm like hung over. Like, I probably smelled like ass, just like trying to wipe the makeup off, like walking into customs. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm going to London." They're like,
I just see the get me on the metal tube that's going to be in the sky. I just gotta get out of here.
It was rough.
It's one of those decisions that's like, I can either take the shortest nap of my life or power through and like just see how long I can go until hopefully I get on the plane, get out of like security and like get baggage claim, and then can pass out and like hope that I've last that long.
I did the complete opposite of that. I got on the flight, made friends with the flight attendant, and there was like nobody on the flight because it was like early morning, day after Halloween. Like, who the fuck flies that day? I do, apparently.
Yeah.
And we started talking about our Halloween nights, and so I started showing her pictures from that night, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that happened." And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm a little hungover." She's like, "What were you drinking?" And I was like, "Jameson." She's like, "I'll be right back," and went and got me a drink for free. to like give me a little like hair of the dog, I felt so much better. I mean, I was drunk instantly, but it was like one of the
but that sounds like the Irish hospitality, just to like, we know what's just gonna help you, Sonny. Like, don't you worry. Like,
just be like,
take a break.
We them. It was beautiful.
Rachel, you have the life experiences that I hope I have soon in my future.
Well, cheers.
Cheers to, let me have an actual drink to that.
Oh, good.
Now, Rachel,
so you haven't gone to Ireland, but where have you been able to travel to?
I've never left North America my whole life. Like, it's the biggest regret I have, and the thing that my mom keeps like pointing at me is like, you could have gone on the high school European trip. Like, every year they do a thing where it's like, yeah, just go to, because I was a loser. I was like,
no, I mean, like, why go when you're in high school?
It's half of that, half that. Would I even appreciate seeing the Eiffel Tower, or would I be like, metal, cool, whatever, escargot, snails, don't like that. Whereas now I do feel that kind of need and want to have that appreciation for other cultures, where I'm like, no, what does like Paris have that I can like impart onto me, that I'm like, ooh, let's incorporate that into like daily lifestyle and like see what are these folks doing that like, you know, is objectively better than what I'm doing in my life. But it's mainly just been like traveling either back and forth to California to New York to see my family, or visit up to Canada to see the rest of the family, and then just settle back down, and this year at least hunker down and just be productive, and hope one day we get to travel and see Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, all those kind of cool places. It's, you know, one day I'll be a world traveler, but right now I'm very I'm a local boy for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I barely leave the house. Like,
yes.
And when I say leave the house, I don't mean like leave the property. I mean literally like go outside,
get the mail, smell.
Like mail, I don't even have to go outside. I like stick my arm out and it's like to the left, just like right there. Like I don't have to go outside.
Come back inside.
Oh yeah, Chris. I definitely did not smell like roses. I smelled like something else. That's
the 4DX experience, where it's like Rachel's Trip, the movie. Smell what she smelled like when she went on that that international flight.
Oh my god, that would be awful. Between that and Warped Tour, you do not want that experience.
All right, we need to get the evidence out of you. What are you gonna do? Make you smell what Rachel smelled like in that international experience.
Do you remember Texas of Warped Tour of 2009? Smell this! Like,
God, oh, why? Oh, Rachel, I missed you.
I miss you too.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here and chat.
Now you were pretty busy before the world shut down. Like, you were working on projects like left and right. You came over to the house and showed us like the first cut of So, which, guys, if you have not seen this movie, I don't know where they can watch it. You can tell them, but guys, this movie fucking kicks ass. It's so that guy, that thing right there. It is
this guy.
This guy. It kicks so much ass. I remember you showed it to us, and I instantly was like, "Okay, we need to talk about this."
That brings me like so much joy, because, you know, like, we're all in the schmodown, the schmoes world, like all the things with all these people on these networks and all that kind of thing. And I am purely in the category of fan person who was there, who kind of weaseled his way into like coming to some live events and all that fun stuff, but then like made genuine friends with like you, with PJ Campbell, Alex Marzonia, and like, you know, since long ago when a lot of them were living together. And, you know, after a year of me living out in LA and becoming genuine great friends with you guys, like, I had this stupid decision to make this short film because like I graduated film school, and let's do something that's financially advisable, which is like spend thousands of dollars and make a short film and all that kind of stuff. And it felt genuinely invigorating, and like, there was a night I came over and like you and Alex were there and we had a little screening. It was the first rough cut. I'm like, okay, guys, here's my movie. And
like, be nice, be gentle.
I hope you're kind to me. And, you know, like it's rough then. There's things I would change now. But like Brandy coming here in the comments, like it's been finished. And Crypt TV, which is a YouTube channel, that is kind of a proprietor of horror short films, really like reached out to me and said, hey, we want to have this on the channel. And they put it up there about a year ago, February 7th last year. It's been up there for a year.
God, it's been a year.
Putting anything in a time frame right now feels like the most monkey's paw thing of like, yes, you get to be reverential about the past, but it feels so long ago.
I'm literally saying that it's 2020 until the ban is over. Until I can go out and like get in my car and drive to a bar and meet up with friends in public.
We're still in the same
mask. It's still 2020.
Yeah. But like over a year ago, this film goes on there. It has, Brandy, God bless you with the facts. Like, no, it's had over 326,700 and it's done extremely well. It's gotten a great reception and has like a great like to dislike ratio, whatever the metrics need to be for that. But for me, it was just a test to prove that I can make something outside of school and make something of my own volition. And that first night where I like showed it to you guys and you were like, no, I want to talk about this. Let's talk about the content of the movie. Like, it was that first time I was like, oh, I have artistic intention. And, like, people want to, like, have a discussion. And it invigorated me in such a way to, like, really, I don't know, just feel good that, okay, it wasn't a mistake. You did creative stuff. You came here and, like, the friends you made really want to support you and talk about this kind of stuff. And so thank you, Rachel. And like now it's on Crypt TV for people to watch, and I hope they like it.
I love being that person. Like that was one of the it was such a joy living with Alex because I was always like I love being that person that people come to when they're like creating something and being like, I need to bounce this off you. Like, can I show this to you? Like, can you listen to this? Like, can you read this? And I'm always like, yes, 100%. I love being that person that people come to because like every now and then Alex would come and be like, okay, does this lyric sound creepy? And I'll be like, yeah, dude, you need to rewind. Like, I know you mean it. I know that you mean it innocently because I know you and you're pure and wonderful and golden and sweet. But change the lyric. He's like, okay. But like, and which is why I loved it when you came over and you were like, can we watch this? I was like, or no, I remember Alex had come home and he was like, hey, so Pat's going to come over and he's going to show us this new cut of his like movie that he's been working on. And I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I think that was when we were living at the old apartment on Burbank. It was still like the apartment that like half the living room was my bedroom.
So many memories that made there.
And we like all kind of like snuggled up on my bed.
On the bed.
On the bed. And we watched the movie. And then I instantly like it stopped. It ended. And I just turned to you and I was like, okay, so we're going to talk about this because I have thoughts and ideas and questions. And you were like, are you serious? And I'm like, yes.
I was so intimidated. I was like, you actually want to have discussions about this? Like, okay, I guess I could talk.
Guys, it's so fucking creepy and good. Just I cannot recommend it highly enough.
Disclaimer warning, it has child death in it. It has gore. It has, very dramatic themes for a horror movie. It's a horror supposed movie. To be a little, it's a little, hopefully a little bit more traumatizing than like the normal one, but I hope it's fun. I hope people enjoy it and all that kind of fun stuff. That comes with making movies.
It's not one of those cheesy like, oh, you can see the seam on the monster's back. Like, no, dude, and no pun intended because it's so. But hey,
and that is
those are the jokes.
Those are the jokes.
Those are the jokes, kids.
That's the tagline for this.
But the one that I haven't seen that I'm super like, every time I think about it, I go and watch is this guy. Is good guy with a gun.
Good guy with a gun.
You look fucking nuts. I loved stalking your Instagram while you were shooting this because all of the pictures of you were just like not the you I know.
It's funny because like right now I'm really kind of taking more of a effort to break out into acting and do a little bit more roles and like kind of stuff like that. And I'm having a lot more conversations with my agent, let alone my mom, that are like, can you play a normal guy? Like, can you like not do something creepy? Like, you know, because like
I can show my sewing circle.
yeah, like, you know, I want to tell my friends to watch your movies. I want to tell like, you know, everybody just like to check it out. But I hate using disclaimers, and it's good. I make sure like with something like Good Guy with a Gun, which is pointed, which is very pointed in terms of having a message and having like different messages to have. And I have only incredible things to say about the creative team behind it, the writer director Brian Keith Montgomery Jr. It's an intense film, and it's a hard one to watch, and it's as he puts it and as we both put it, it's probably the most American film that's ever been made, starring a Canadian especially. And it's been very interesting to see the response to it, and see the response is it's to walk you through basically the tagline is it's about an incel who I play, who has an epiphany to buy an automatic rifle because he feels like that's what he needs to improve his manhood and to improve, you know, like it's what his perception of power in society represents. And the film is very pointed in that way to have it always be in his perspective. It's always like his version of being a cool guy is the like hero in the VHS film that's like the vigilante cop that comes in and is just like, throw out the rules, I'm gonna kill the perp because I think he's a bad guy. Like to him, that's the biggest idea of like a hero. And it's kind of a deconstruction of that. And like a lot of the response has been mainly about, you know, the gun part of it, acquiring a gun, and less about, we know that's, you know, that part is that part. It's less about getting the gun. We kind of brush over it in the movie because, you know, that's not really the part we're talking about. It's the perception of what a gun represents. It's about, you know, sexuality. It's about toxic masculinity. It's really about these deeper themes. So it's kind of hard to watch. I want to recommend it to people, but be wary that it does have nudity, both male and female. It does have, and Brandy, thank you. It's available on Alter, who is another YouTube channel that aggregates all these horror short films, spelled the way that Brandy has here. You wonderful person, Brandy. It's on the channel. Just type in Good Guy with a Gun Alter and it should come up. But I think it's very important, and I feel very strongly about the film. And it's like one of those ones that it was my first acting role, especially after I directed So, where I was like, oh, I want to get back into acting. I really do miss that. And it felt really good to be a part of something that someone outside of me felt so strongly about the project. And it's a lot, but I think it's very good. And I would recommend to anybody with the caveat that it is a lot and it's got a message.
I feel like it's one of those, like, if you can get through Promising Young Woman, you can probably get through this. Like, it has the same kind of like just very like blatant look at the mentality and like because you've seen Promising Young Woman, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So like
great movie.
Like every time that she switches and like calls the guys out on their shit, they're like, I'm a nice guy, and she's like, but you're not.
Yeah.
Like, and like I think that conversation that she has is like kind of like just exploded and like super addressed in this movie of like what it is to be a man and like what it is to be a nice guy and what it is to be like protective and, you know, a hero. Whereas people
and the amount of art that is created, like, you know, Taxi Driver is a great film, and like we're very like that was one of the films I was made to watch like in preparation, but like this isn't as much Taxi Driver as much it's a deconstruction of that, of like those aren't heroes to idolize. Those aren't people that really like, you know, what really makes people powerful isn't the ability to buy a gun. It's the like, you know, the integrity you have inside of yourself. And like Promising Young Woman does such a great job of just like, you know, emphasizing that it doesn't matter like how good you feel about afterwards. You did, like, you had the integrity in the moment to make a decision. You didn't. Like, that means something. And like, it doesn't matter how many years pass, like that speaks to you as a person. And like the fact that you're capable of that reverberates. And, you know, like really playing with that idea of you look at something and you should know better. You should know better, but that, you know, boys will be boys and people will be people. And it's, and it, you know, if it's uncomfortable and it's uncomfortable to watch, but if you're down for some messages, I think the film's pretty good, and I would encourage people to go watch it.
Excellent. I'm so excited to go watch it. Because it's one of the, like, again, you've told me about it a while ago. Like, you were working on it for a while. And, like, guys, if you want to see some really fucked up pictures of Pat, go look at his Instagram. It's so fucking great.
They might not be up because my Instagram, as of a certain month last year, was deleted. My Facebook and my Instagram were hacked and like just like completely. I have a couple photos that I'm still re-uploading that were from that, but it was a tough. There's still a couple up now that I've made sure to preserve that kind of like, all right, guys, here's the lead up to this creepy movie that I'm in. Yay. But I'll make sure to get up some of those more like, ooh, what the heck was this thing that he was a part of?
It was really great. Yeah. I love that. Again, Alter on YouTube and Crib TV. Just, yes, 100%.
Check out those channels.
Now, does your work output match your viewing habits?
No. Because my work output, I make sure to seem more impressive than it is. You know, we as creatives all are. The social media is very much a highlight reel of everybody's life. So like I'll post when I'm like, ooh, working on the feature film, working on this next short film and all this kind of stuff. And it is true. I am working on that, but day to day, it's not as like gratifying as like it would seem that my social media would present. But I'm really bad at watching like recommendations that people give me. Like my main thing right now that I'm in the middle of is My Hero Academia, which I have been binging nonstop, but I'm also like in the middle of watching kind of every potential Oscar movie. Like next on my list is a movie night to watch, Nomadland, which I'm really excited to watch next week. But past that, really haven't done too much to watch a ton of stuff.
But like throughout the pandemic, you just been binging My Hero Academia, or?
Oh no, okay. Throughout the pandemic. Oh, if we're gonna talk about Pat sloth,
let's cut this wound open. Let's just go there.
It's
no, I'm kidding.
No, I'm trying to think of because it's over the past. It's actually been pretty productive in terms of like a lot of things I've seen. But I don't know. It's a lot of like different blanks that I've been meaning to fill. Like I got into a habit where I wanted to watch the Babe movies, and like I've seen the first Babe a ton as a kid, and I tried to watch Babe Pig in the City like when I was younger, and it traumatized me because there's so much darkness in the movie. But I finally watched that during quarantine. I'm like, okay. And turns out still one of the darkest kids movies ever made because it's terrifying, but it's great. And I love that movie.
Yeah, that was one that Alex and I sat down and watched in the living room, and we both just kind of looked at each other. We're like, this is really upsetting. Like,
it's about a pig.
This is harsh.
He's talking about existentialism, and a pit bull's like about to like eat him, and like I don't know.
And then he saves his life. Then he has a life debt because he's like Chewy, and now like
now he's like a mob boss, and now he like these monkeys are being, and so it's a lot of. I'm trying to think of, can I plug a podcast I love that I've been listening to a lot?
Of course.
A podcast that I listen to that really helps me dictate a lot of the different like movies that I choose to watch is a podcast called Blank Check, which is one that Alex Marzonia, good friend of both of us, pitched me, which is mainly about the pitch. Yeah, I can't speak enough good about it. It's mainly the podcast is broken up into mini series where they focus on like different directors and like their filmographies. And they recently did Robert Zemeckis. So I finally watched a lot of the gaps in that like some of his newer films like Allied, Welcome to Marwen, The Witches, and then like What Lies Beneath I finally saw, and Romancing the Stone I finally saw, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of feels good to get like somebody's like authorial voice when it comes to like making content and all of that.
Yeah, we that was definitely one of the reasons why I watched so many different movies with when I lived with Alex, because like he loves that podcast. And so he would just be like, hey, so we're gonna be starting, like the show's starting this show, and we're following this director. So if there's a movie you want to watch, let me know. And I'm like, oh my god, yes. And we would just like sit and like we would like schedule out movie nights. Be like, okay, so tomorrow night we're gonna watch this and this, and then like the next day we'll watch this, and then like, I don't want to watch this, so you can watch this on your own. And like, it was just like this beautiful little, like, we would literally like yell at each other like through the bathroom, because we had like a Jack and Jill bathroom at the new apartment in Glendale. So like the doors would be open, my to let a breeze in, whatever. And he would just be working in his room, writing songs and stuff, and I would be watching movies in my room, and then he'd just be like, hey,
hey, can we schedule like for Tuesday? We're gonna watch You've Got Mail. Hope you're okay with that. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Or he'd be like working in the living room, and then like I could get a text and be like, "So this movie in 15 minutes?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll be right out."
Cool.
Yeah, he's like,
"Pop
"Okay,
some popcorn. Get a pillow ready for me."
It was like the sweetest. I miss him so much.
No, and it's and like what an avenue to like prepare like kind of different like collective stuff like that. That's how I watch all of like Nora Ephron's films. I finally saw Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, Julie and Julia, and then all the other ones that aren't as great, but like really enjoyed watching.
Oh, aren't as great. How dare you?
Wait, which one do you defend?
Is it Heartstroke?
There's Heartburn, which I haven't seen.
Heartburn.
And she only wrote that one, but I haven't seen it. And I do need to.
It was good. But I just because it's about like this woman who like gets cheated on, and like she like it's very 80s. It is. It's very 80s. But her daughter, because it's got Meryl Streep in it, and I didn't realize until the very end that the girl who plays her daughter is actually Mammy, like her actual daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a bold move for the writer to like pull in their daughter to like have a role in like a movie she just wrote.
Well, yeah, I mean it's Meryl's daughter, so she was like, "Yeah, you."
Meryl's daughter.
Meryl's daughter,
I thought it was Nora Ephron's. I'm like, no. Oh man, that's a power move to like,
which is like
do that
really
early.
I think it's like I think that makes it the second movie that they've worked on together, because Mammy plays her daughter in the critically acclaimed Ricky and the Flash.
Hey, another podcast, Blank Check podcast of Jonathan Demme, one of his movies, which I didn't watch because I was like, don't feel the need to watch Ricky and the Flash, but hope it's good.
It's not
terrible.
Great.
Okay.
It's not great. It's watchable. Rick Springfield is funny in it.
But Meryl Streep named her daughter Mammy. Okay.
Choices were made.
Interesting choice, but I'll respect it because
she's Meryl.
You know what? Yes.
I think it's a family name. I think like her grandmother was named Mammy or something like that. I remember reading an article like years ago about like, because like, yeah, I don't know. But
kids being named of like, I have no basis to judge because, like everybody has any excuse to name their kid whatever they want, and it's usually because my great grandfather, my third uncle twice removed was named this, and so it's a family heritage. I'm like, but was like Iron Man 3 really a good thing to name your kid? Like, all right, okay.
Yeah, Absida is not a name for your daughter, nor is chlamydia.
I mean, they're gonna stand out on the playground, like they.
Please stop doing this to your children.
If you want them to be unique as a child, you did it.
Like if you want them to be unique, teach them how to play the banjo.
Give them a skill.
If you want them to be bullied, which I do not like. Bullying is an issue. I understand that, but there are some things that like as a 5-year-old, if you meet some kid named Absida, you're gonna make fun of them. I'm sorry, it's gonna happen. Don't fucking do that to your kid. Just don't.
It's like you have a choice to make to like really affect the, you know, social sanctity of whatever offspring you have. Make the right choice.
I had a friend whose last name was Bear, and he desperately wanted to name his son Theodore. And I'm like, don't you fucking dare. Because he wanted him to be Teddy Bear.
I mean,
it's cute when they're little, but not when they're 13.
See, you can hear the dog barking. Like, I love animals. Like, I have 6 siblings, you know, and my mother's name is Patricia and my father's name is Russell, and I'm Patrick Russell Hogue. So I think objectively I'm the favorite child because I'm named after my parents in that kind of way. So I give credence to the idea that like names have that like meaning if you put them behind it. And I'm like, man, if you gave me Teddy Bear, like I start thinking about like, could I be a pro wrestler? Could I be like, you know, something like big and like intimidating? What? Like there's a meaning behind that you gave to me that I need to live up to.
But like you also have to be able to grow into that stature. Like you can't be 5'5" and be named
yes.
Like no.
There's an element of luck there that is a bit harder to
they were rolling
anticipate.
I eventually had, because like we've known each other since we were teenagers, and like when we were like young and still working at the movie theater together, he told me this, and I'm like, you can't do that. I talked him down to at least, I was like, look, if you really, really, really want to, middle name, that's it. Never refer to him as Teddy Bear in public or around friends. Never refer to him like literally just your immediate family. Don't expand. And then he got married, and he is 6'4". His wife is like 5'6", and I'm like, you can't, like, that's a genetic lottery. Like, that's one or the other. Like, please, please, please don't name him Teddy.
But at the worst comes to worst, they become a taxidermist and they make teddy bears for people.
Now,
you know,
there's a sequel to So.
Listen, conversations have been had. People have talked about, all right, the sewing gimmick. What can happen? Can he make like human puppets out of this? I'm like, that's not really my main intention, but I guess if that's the direction we want to go in, let's explore that. I guess it's.
I have an innate talent for taking really good ideas and making really terrible sequels out of them.
There's a dream job of mine,
right? Like I went to a horror convention one time. And ended up talking. It was like a horror convention / tattoo convention, and
heck yes, hell yeah!
It was called the Full Moon Tattoo Convention, and it was in Nashville. And I met this girl through a mutual friend of ours who sold merchandise for Apocalyptica, which is a metal band from Iceland, I believe.
It is.
But they only play cellos. They're fucking amazing and badass.
Okay.
And they have like artists that come in to like do the vocals on their albums. They're fucking badass and it's amazing. Literally, after we're done here, Google, like go onto YouTube, look up Apocalyptica. They're fantastic.
What a name, what an instrument. Oh my gosh.
Their live shows there's like 3 guys that play cello, and there's like, they have this one show, they're so massive in Europe that like it was a live outdoor like festival that had like 150,000 people like fucking losing their minds to them.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, so he was selling merchandise for them, met this girl. She was like in a ton of like B-C horror movies.
Of course.
So she was like, hey, come hang out. So we ended up drinking at the hotel bar. And then the guy who played the original guy who played Jason was there because he was like one of those like guest stars. So he is like hanging out with us, and it's like me, my friend, and like 3 of her friends, and then like the guy who played Jason, and like we're literally just sitting at a table in this bar drinking, coming up with the idea of this guy who kills people he can smell their sins. We called him the Sniffer, and the sequel was going to be amazing. It was going to be called Resurrection.
Wait, Rachel, hold on for a second. You like glitched out for a second. I missed the sequel title. Go again.
It's called Resniffercation. Right?
Oh my.
It's so bad, but so good. We like literally started working out of like the whole like
I see the poster.
Like plot points and shit. Like there were napkins and pens involved. It was amazing.
But that's all it just takes, and that's people who are outside of the industry and whatever that means, like want to make a movie or whatever that is, like, come up with an idea and they write it on a napkin and they like go ahead. They're like, no, but I have the idea and I need people to understand, like, this is what I'm doing. That's what Hollywood is. It is just like, oh, wait, I thought of something. Let me write it on like, my popsicle stick and hope it like, and then like transfer it to a page. It's just, you just have to go the next step further and write that. Like that's Hollywood. That's how you like come up with ideas of the sniffler. Like, like that's it.
Yeah. I would love to know the amount of cocktail napkins that are framed in houses in Hollywood with like the rough layout of like Goodwill Hunting or like
Harry Potter
or The Rock. Like it's just random shit that you think of in a bar and you're like, wouldn't it be funny if? Like those are the best ideas, by the way.
If people were that, like, artists were that forward thinking of like they're sitting at the bar drinking their drink because they're depressed because they haven't been successful and they're like, I really wish I could come up with the next thing about just, an organism on a spaceship. Wait a second, he comes out of the chest and then like takes out the crew one by one and Sigourney Weaver's gonna be at it. Barkeep, take a picture of this. This is gonna be the next big thing. Like if only we had the foresight to know that like this is it. This is the next big idea and just could go with. Although so many of the ideas come up like that.
I would love to be that bartender that's like in LA. Because like think of how many times you get that as a bartender in LA. Like some guy or girl is just sitting at the bar, drunk off their ass, depressed. And they're like, I'm gonna make the next big thing. And then like 2 years later, they're accepting an Oscar for the movie and be like, oh shit, I remember that guy or that girl. Like that.
It sounds like a YouTube series that needs to happen that's just like the bartender. And it is just every like
bar where everybody who comes in, oh my god!
I think we just kind of came up with
what happens when you start talking with creatives, guys.
So
it could be, you know what? This could be like a takeoff of Dogma, where like the muse came down to write for herself, and now she can't. So now she's just a bartender, and she's like hearing people's. Are you writing this down? Because you should, guys.
Yes. No, I'm typing this up. I'm writing this down.
Copyright, guys. And the bartender hears everybody's stories and judges whether or not they deserve to get an idea, or if their idea is good enough to like have her encourage them so that they write it. Whether it's a book or a movie or a song, like, oh my god, yes, I'm all for this. The bartender's the muse. Give Salma Hayek a job, guys.
Their idea is the best idea to be produced going forward. All right, that's written down. The bartender. Like that is an idea I have. So Rachel, you want a scoop right now? You want
always.
So I've been lackluster on the PJ Campbell network, and like I love everybody on that gang. Anybody, Brandy, you'll be familiar with them, but anybody watching, they have a litany of content on their channel. They do watch-alongs, they do musical reviews, going through soundtracks of different musicals. They talk to creatives in Broadway. They're great. They're doing a lot of great stuff. They're enthusiastic, and I'm a part of that. But also, I am very outside of it because I get jobs and I get busy, and it's hard for me to watch 3-hour movies after long days, and I feel bad. But a quick tease of an idea we've been talking about is a show called Pitching with Pat, which is a show where like I bring guests on and I say like, hey, you have 10 minutes to pitch me any idea you have, whether it's a movie, a video game, a book, a TV series, whatever it is, you have 10 minutes. I'm not going to interrupt you. And then we have the rest of the show, which is up until an hour, to like really talk about it and dissect it, and like let me use my talents as a creative to like, okay, let's like talk about every aspect of it. And haven't figured out every element of the show of like there needs to be a scoring system in terms of you got the green light or the red light, kid, or like whatever that means, but it's something that we're working on and we're developing. So anybody watching this is your little tease for an episode that we're, thank you, Brandy, thank you, Rockin' Movies with Tyler. It's an idea, but like this is what we're talking about. Like when we're just talking, you come up with this ideas, is like this is how creative franchises get made, is when like we all get involved and we all like, you know, mind share and just kind of create this creative environment. And like the bartender, where like the Hollywood bar that where everybody comes around, whether it's George Lucas in the 70s or Ari Aster in the like early 2000s, and he comes up with Hereditary, like it's, you know, there is like a cute little like YouTube series there, or like a Netflix series, like like that's the tease I got for your audience. But
nice.
I love that. I love like creative juices.
Yeah. I have one recommendation for your show. Because basically what they call that in the industry is that for everybody who doesn't know, it's called an elevator pitch. And you want to get everything as much, like you want to be able to sell somebody on your idea in the time that it takes to write an elevator with somebody that you can greenlight your project. It's called an elevator pitch. So what I recommend is playing elevator music in the background very lightly.
It's funny because like that's a good idea. And it's like we played a lot with the idea of the titles of being like elevator related and having it be like you get 10 seconds, kid. And that's a good idea of like having a score that is elevator music that like builds throughout the pitch and like gets to a fever point after like when you're getting to the end of like, okay, you better get to the point. Like I'll be wrapping up. All right, we're gonna steal that. That's a good idea. Like
you can even make it like give them 5 minutes to do the elevator pitch, and then an extra 5 if you want to take it to the bar to continue the discussion.
And that's where I can interject, and that's where I can like have questions. Gosh darn! Hold on, Rachel. We're having an interview and everything, but I'm pitching. See, people, this is the creative process.
And yes, I 100% agree with Brandy. I was going to say David B should be able to write you some little ditty for the background, something real soft, some soft jazz, some John Cicada stuff, you know.
Soft jazz. All right, I'm putting soft jazz. This is my like note page where I'm like, ooh, we got creative endeavors coming on. Soft jazz. That's on there.
And for all of you guys watching, this is literally every time we get together. This is not just because that we are on this show. This is what happens every time we all get together. Like the amount of times that we have hung out on PJ's couch in Burbank and just like gotten drunk or ordered food and like talked about movies and plot ideas and shit that went wrong that we could have fixed. Like
the amount of catharsis we're gonna have on just like this discussion between the two of us, because Rachel, I missed you, and like to be able to chat. It brings me so much joy.
Guys, you don't understand. Like as soon as I brought him on and we saw each other's face, we were like, I miss you so much. And we just like started getting emotional.
She was like, you have a ponytail? I'm like, yes, I'm different. What do you feel?
I legitimately was like, how long has it been?
Too long.
It's been 84 years.
I see time.
I'm blonde now.
And I have longer hair. When you hold on. Brandy has a pitch for the show. When you get 5 or 10 greenlit projects, then you have them all. You're seeing this as like a competition, like
I mean, you
have a round robin.
I mean,
interesting.
I mean, depending on the type of I mean, we're getting a little into like Shark Tank territory.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of really good ideas could come out of this. And bring people in. Did I just freeze?
And,
like I feel
and
like we know enough people in the industry to bring them in and be like, hey, can you like sit and listen to a few ideas? Like I know it gets into like some copyright issues and stuff like that, but like I feel like this could be really fun.
And it's like the whole point of my show is to the show that doesn't exist, as I should say, but like the whole point of it is to take the pressure off of, you know, the realness of it, of like, this isn't an actual, like, I'm not a studio head. I'm not here to like, you don't have to genuinely sell me on a project that I'm going to like throw away and all of that, but like kind of give like myself an opportunity to do what I'm good at, which is like talk about story and to be creative and to help like kind of encourage other people with their own stories. But we're still in the early developments and we're still trying to figure out what the format of the show is. And Brandy, something like that to like give us something to build towards of like, okay, let's have kind of a finale like idea of like, okay, if all these shows that we like, these ideas we really liked and we put it together in one show, like if one needs to win, let's talk about it and let's really infuse it. But you know, we're still working on it. We got ideas.
It's like a much broader version of Ben and Matt's version of like the Greenlight Project.
Yeah.
Like remember when that was on HBO and like they were like trying to find like the next big thing, like the next big director, like scriptwriter or whatever, like, you know, they competed for it and whoever won got like the money to make their project and shit.
Totally.
But this just seems like fun and like,
and this is the version where it's, you know, if you have your sequel to A Nightmare on Elm Street that like is a reboot of the franchise, this is your opportunity. Like, let's talk about it. Of okay, so what canonically are you bringing into it? Like, why are you telling this story specifically? Let's like break it down. Of it's mainly for people to vent because it's, you know,
because what else the fuck do we have to do?
Yeah. And we're in a position where we can only commentate on pop culture. So let's give our idea of our own influence into it. And I'll help as much as I can about someone who's trying to be realistic with a studio that's like, okay, if you really want to make Superman like, you know, a squid, let's talk about the ramifications of doing that. Okay, I don't know.
A lot of spandex. Just
a lot of 8 different holes you got to make for limbs. Let's talk about this.
And like for all of like on like the arms, like on like all of this the sticky things, like
does it need to incorporate the like suction cups? Like, see, this is the hardcore commentary you're going to get on Pitching with Pat. This is this is the content.
If you think about it, we've literally just been sitting by ourselves watching movies,
stewing
shows with like very limited amount of time to talk about shit like this. And so, yeah, it makes sense. Like give people an outlet for this.
That's
sexy jazz works every time.
Every time.
It kind of works every time.
But that's a little God bless sexy jazz. But that's I don't know. It's still to come to fruition. And if PJ or anybody on the channel saw this, they don't know if they'd say the same of like, Pat, we're still working on that, but I'm here representing them. I hope they're okay with that.
You're not gonna be angry with anything. We're all just creating content, and you get the buzz started early, so fuck it.
Totally. Let's get the hype train rolling.
Now, have you done like any? Like, because you talk about, you know, watching the movies along with the podcast and like our tours and stuff like that. Have you gone on like a binge of movies just like on your own that you've found that you've really loved?
It's mainly just kind of like cheap horror movies that I really like, kind of are kind of blank spots for me. Today, actually, I just discovered a new Netflix series that I've been getting into. That it's Sweet Home is on Netflix. It's a Korean show that is and I just learned today, which made me watch it, is an adaptation of a webtoon comic that came out years ago that I read when it came out, that it's about this one apartment building in Korea during an apocalypse where this weird virus comes across the land that starts churning people into grotesque monsters. Some people are like, you know, have a spike for their head, or some people like turn into like a bulking protein infused, you know, hulking. And it's like the perfect kind of, you know, manga horror that I'm into, that it's like, oh right, monsters and weird different designs. And I heard about this Netflix show that was like this kind of monster drama that about these people dealing with monsters, and it was called Sweet Home. I'm like, oh, I'll get to that. That sounds interesting. And then I found out it was based on this webtoon that I read years ago that I loved. And I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be great if somebody made a live action adaptation of this? And it turns out it exists and it's on Netflix. And I watched the first episode today and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a big budget adaptation of like something that I thought only I cared about. And it's like that kind of gratifying feeling of, oh, I feel so seen. I feel like people really get me. And that's been my main thing that I'm like, okay, I can't wait to dive into that. But past that, no, it's really been either anything I've been watching for the podcast or some of the bigger movies like Wonder Woman 1984, which I actually really liked. And it turns out a lot of people didn't really like
it. Had a lot of great things about it that I really enjoyed. And there were a few things that I went, choices were made.
It's a movie that I find incredibly empathetic. Like, it's a movie that's really trying to be about humanity and about all of that. And is it clunky? Yes. Is it like, does it have some ideas that are kind of, if you think about them any past the surface level, that it won't hold up to scrutiny? Entirely, yes. But it's like, it really wants to have the best heart for humanity at its core. And like, those movies really, like, I'm a sucker for those kind of movies. I really love it when the message is like, if we're just better, we can, like, you know, overcome a lot of stuff. And I'm like, you're right. I guess I'll like improve myself and like do some things that make me a better person. Yeah, but it's amazing that, you know, something like Soul as well that I watched that a lot of people had problems with. And I'm like, that's a movie that is very esoteric, that is about, you know, think about the little things that you're not going to think about. And people are like, yeah, Pixar are finally shitting the bed with no structure and anything. I'm like, well,
no,
this is a tough movie to make. And it's very
well
simple
done.
Yeah. And it's a movie. Beautiful. And it's like such a heady and crazy idea that a lot of the critiques I see are like, it's too simplistic for, like, you know, the culture it's depicting, and too simplistic for the ideas. And it's very kind of, you know, pass offish about its message. And I'm like, its message is, you don't need to aspire to be the greatest person ever to have a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
And I think people are kind of disappointed that there isn't more of a unifying, like, grandiose of this one thing will pull you together and make you like the triumphant person you need to be. Or, you know, your life does have meaning. You just have to find the one thing that makes it have meaning. The movie is about, you know, it's the little things, and they do add up, and don't ignore them, and try to focus on them as soon as possible, because it'll really make the little moments for other people just as meaningful, because you influence, I don't know, it just had that like complexity to it.
I think that movie got ruined for a lot of people because, like, people my age, like our age, that grew up with Pixar. Like, we were children when Pixar first started. Like, in 95, I was 11. And that was the perfect age. Like, I literally have grown up with Pixar. Like, every time they've released a new Toy Story movie, it's dealing with something that I'm dealing with in my personal life. Like, and oddly enough, it's so weird, but Cars 3 too. Like, just the fact that, like, you know, he's dealing with not being the best at what he's doing. And like, you have to pass on the torch eventually. And like, that's like, you have to find new ways to keep doing what you love, even though you may not be like in the spotlight or like the best of the best. Like the new generation is going to come up. Like, Pixar has grown with me. So I can understand why people our age were bitching about it. But I'm like, you have to remember that Pixar at its core is teaching children life lessons. And that's what it's for. Like, it's a family movie so that your kids can watch it and you can have, like, it opens doors for these amazing discussions of like purposes of life and like, you know, why it's important to have dreams, but also why you don't put all of your hopes and dreams into one basket. Like,
yeah, that,
like, You're not a terrible person if you don't achieve this one dream that you've set for yourself. Like, you're still a good person. You still have value. Just because you didn't get this one thing or didn't become this person, it doesn't mean that you're not a valid person. Yeah, there's so many issues. I actually had a friend who was like, "That was stupid," and I was like, "You have a child. Go ask your kid what they thought of the movie, and then come back and talk."
Yeah. To me. Well, and it's like I get when we went through a year where we didn't have normal movie releases and we didn't have like a consistent like drip feed of movies that either hit the standard or were just like past the standard or like were something weird. And then on Christmas Day, we get two of the biggest releases. One's Wonder Woman, which is kind of a weird combination of different, superhero movies that don't completely come together. And then we have Soul, which is a Pixar movie that should hit us at our home strings, but is about existentialism and is about, like not finding joy in the big moments, but in the little ones. I get after a year of not having consistent, motivational boosts, you see two movies that aren't kind of what you expect them to be and just want normalcy, and how that can be a little upsetting. But I wish people to go back and look at those films on their own outside of the context of the year we were in and be like, what lessons can we learn from that? Especially Soul, what you're talking about of what do your kids think? Like, do they even get it? Or do they, or does it work on a fundamental level of characters that go through a journey and are happy at the end? Like, does it just work on that level? And I don't know. It's as I grow up, I keep looking to younger kids for their perspective because I'm like, I feel like you see this more inherently than I do. I feel like you have a more pure experience with art because, the best note I ever got as a writer is like, can you explain your movie to an 8-year-old?
Yeah.
Like, and will they find it interesting? And it's like, oh, I always think about minutia. I think about plot and mechanics and all that. And is there a story for people to kind of latch on to? And if an 8-year-old can't, I know, Brandy, like to address it, I have the ponytail, but there's been a part that's been let loose right now. And I think I just need to let it happen and just go with it.
I have so many bobby pins next to me that I want to be like, come here, baby.
You're just like, just stick it in. You know what we're doing? We're taking out the we're getting loose on this show, Rachel, and we're
literally letting our hair down.
We're letting our hair down. We're getting. It doesn't mean it's gonna fix me like fixing my hair, but it's gonna let me feel more free, and we're gonna be.
I like it. It's very oh my god, you know what it's the perfect length for? You're Jared Catalano.
Who's that?
Oh
no.
My god. Oh, that's
Jared. All right, Google search happening.
There was a show back in the days of the 90s called My So-Called Life. And it was where we were, as a society, were introduced to Jared Leto. And he played Jordan Catalano. And he was everything to girls my age.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Man, was he handsome back then as well?
So handsome back then.
Shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, he was so... Yeah, it's My So-Called Life.
That's kind of my life consistently is just I'm either Michael J. Fox, and like I find a ton of pride in this as somebody who wants to be an actor. Like, let me bring back the old days of those actors in the 80s, and like let me bring back like the charismatic, they were just movie stars because they had that look and they had that chin on them and they had that like, blue eyes, blonde haired kind of, invigoration about them. But I every now and again, people like compare me to something. I'm like, oh, I hope that's a compliment. And I hope that's like a good character we all like. Jared Catalano, I hope you're a good person.
Peggy can vouch in the chat. Jared Catalano was the guy.
Thank you,
in
Peggy.
Like 97, 96. I can't remember what year it was, but it definitely deserved a season 2.
It was only a single season.
It's a single season, and it is.
Gotcha.
It's one of those it's one of the shows that doesn't talk not enough when people are like, what shows deserved more seasons than they got? And I was like, it's Firefly and My So-Called Life, and that's like the two that are constantly like, those are my basis. Everything else I'm kind of like,
in between.
I'm fine, but I need them for my soul.
My So-Called Life.
Yeah, it was the introduction of Claire Danes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's got a fucking great cast. It's very 90s.
And it's narrated by Claire Danes, is what Wikipedia is telling me.
It's her story.
Wow.
Of her like being like a 15, 16-year-old girl in high school, and she's like just kind of like this quiet nerd, and she's in love with Jared, and you know, or Jordan, I should say. And he's like this like, skater, kind of this cool stoner meets like like rock kid, but he's also like super quiet and broody and moody, and like basically he's the reason why women my age are completely fucked up with men.
Thanks, Jared Leto. Another thing you've caused.
Jackass.
I will, Peggy. Like seeing it, like it truly does give me that. Man, like Degrassi, which for my generation and for many generations after me and before me is that kind of like prototypical high school experience that is a little neutered, is a little kind of like PG dash in like quotations 13, like it dealt with stuff, but it looks like, oh man, Jared Leto, if he doesn't have a drug problem in this show, I don't know why this show exists.
I think her best friend is played by AJ Lang, who I aspired to, and I feel like I have her spirit in me now. And she's kind of like the wild child, and like her best friend was like, because this is all again 90s. Her best friend was gay. And he was very effeminate, and it was a very big deal back then. Yeah, was the fact, and it was also like I think it was on MTV, and so it got pretty like serious
notoriety for
like good issues. There wasn't like a, you know, like it wasn't like an after school special like happiness at the end of every episode. You know, like
it was like we're touching on stuff. I hope you're ready for this.
Yeah, they deal with like rape and pregnancy and drug use like in a very like realistic way, at least for back then. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but it was a really, really good show.
So-Called Life. All right. Claire Danes, like that's an actress that I don't think gets enough credit for how much she's done. Star Drew, welcome.
Hey, babe. Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Welcome to the proceedings. We're talking about My So-Called Life.
Oh, yes, Peggy. I'm sorry. It was on ABC before they were owned by Disney.
Ooh.
And then it reran on MTV. Yeah.
Which kind of says something about the show when ABC's like, we'll drop it, and MTV's like, no, this is our kind of content. Come on, bring it over here. Where I guess they got real with stuff. I guess they talked about.
Well, this was also back in the day when MTV still played music videos, because it's actually, I don't know if you guys realize this, but MTV stands for music television. And they used to play music videos. Bands used to like make these little like movies to go along with like their songs that they would release. It's very weird.
Is television really cool. Like, is this a streaming service I can subscribe to, or like
probably
a YouTube?
They honestly should. If MTV did an MTV Classics and like just did music videos, I would fucking throw money at them all day.
And that's all the major studios like CBS doing Peacock and every company Paramount Plus. I'm just saturated market already. You gotta find a new avenue, and you gotta find a new way to diversify. That being said, brands from the 90s where like this kind of, you know, like this nostalgia is coming back. If Nickelodeon alone did their own streaming service, if Cartoon Network did their own streaming service, I mean, that's the market to really start hitting the groundwork. Like Cartoon Network Plus, like I'll sign up for it to watch every episode of Johnny Bravo, because
oh my god,
come on, hey, do the monkey now, hey, hey, yeah.
And as much as everybody gave him, like Johnny Bravo, like he may have hit on everything in a skirt, but you know what he didn't do? He didn't push when a woman said no.
No,
just saying,
kind of a progressive lunk.
Moved on. You didn't call her talker. He didn't like take the air out of her tires. Like he just was like, okay.
He just had the confidence. He was like, all right, little lady, I'm gonna move on to the next one. I'm like,
like
what a role model. See, but that's that when we're talking about content for, you know, going forward and all that kind of thing, it has to work in conjunction with the nostalgia drip. Like Disney can do that because they're Disney. They have the content. Marvel can do that because they own the world right now. HBO Max can do that because they just have a lot of money and can put stuff like Studio Ghibli and Judah and the Black Messiah and like all these like Oscar, like they can do that. But everyone else is, you know, Peacock, you have The Office. Good job. You stole it from Netflix, so people are mad at you. Like, can you align with different networks or find singular, like, you know, Disney Channel has the whole Disney Channel, like, catalog to pull from. But it is what I'm talking about, that kind of, you know, what is Malcolm in the Middle on? What is, like, all these, I'm trying to think of all the... That's Nickelodeon. Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm trying to think of like these things that I watched as a kid.
Dude, if Nickelodeon showed, like, if I could stream Are You Afraid of the Dark, Clarissa Explains It All, Hey Dude, Hey Dude. Oh my god, yes, Brandy. I want MTV to do streaming, but they also have to put on Singled Out. But they have to put on like the old Singled Out, like with Jenny McCarthy and Chris What's His Face. Oh my god, yes. I remember when Singled Out came out, we played a version of that in my high school during lunch, like as a school. Like it was broadcast. Like people were on the microphone over, like it was nuts. You could never fucking do that now.
Would it be bad for me to say I don't know Singled Out?
Singled Out is a dating game.
Ooh.
And
ooh.
I know. It was like one person.
Pre-Tinder?
Oh, very much pre-Tinder. But it was very like they had to like it was kind of like a Love Connection meets Double Dare. Because like they had to do like some activities and like they had to answer questions and like if she didn't, there was like certain points where like the person could like eliminate you. And so you had to like go sit on the couch instead of play.
Oh, that just got me jazzed up. I'm like, yeah I'd watch something like that.
It's super fun. And it was like Jenny McCarthy before she went all crazy anti-vax and like,
of course,
yeah, you know, she's still like like it was Jenny McCarthy and like her
don't meet your heroes.
Stunningly fucking hot. And then Chris. Oh my god, guys, who's the co-host of that? It's Chris. He does like everything Nerdist and like.
Shoot, even
right now.
Fudge. Even I know this guy.
I swear it's okay. I know it's your Canadianism, but
why, Rachel? Why would you bring me on if I'm going to be this ill-informed when it comes to the facts we need on this show?
I'm telling you, it was such a great show. Their chemistry was so fun, and like you could literally pinpoint the episode where Chris was just done with her. Hardaway. Oh, thank you.
Hardaway. Yes.
Brandy with
thank you. And then and Stardew, the Walking Dead host, Chris. Like that's where I know him from. I'm like,
right.
You're talking about the host from the show that's based on the show that I watched and stopped watching after season 3. Weird.
And only started watching again because Jeffrey Dean Morgan was on.
And then he did some bad things to characters I liked, and I was like, oh.
Okay, he was still like super daddy. He's like the nicest man in the world too, and he like swears like a sailor. So we literally became swearing buddies when we met.
Rachel, you have to tell this story.
Oh, okay.
You've met Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Oh my gosh.
So Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Hold on, let me while I'm talking. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan, for those that don't know, played Papa Winchester on Supernatural, and
what?
Yeah, he plays Jensen and Jared's dad on Supernatural. And
how is he just in everything I love?
Because he's the best.
He's such a utility player.
Now he was at, let's see, I was in LA for I was on tour. We were in LA, we were playing the Pantages, and in Pasadena they were having a supernatural convention. And I have a poster somewhere around here that is signed
Rachel,
by pretty much the entire cast of Supernatural. And I wanted to get his
first
autograph
part of
on
that,
it. Oh,
the first
sorry.
part of that glitched out. I don't know if it came through.
So they were in Pasadena for the convention. I have this massive poster that's signed by pretty much the entire cast. I wanted him to sign it too. Bought a ticket for the day that I had off. Went in, did that. Ended up getting a photo op with him.
Oh.
But so I go to his panel first, and he's telling the story about, because do you know who he's married to?
No.
He's married to the girl that played Peyton in One Tree Hill.
All right, research time.
Sorry.
No, I am so young. I am so ill-informed. One Tree Hill, plug that in. Oh yes, as everybody knows, it's portrayed by Hillary Burton, who is
yes, thank you.
A very pretty lady.
She is,
oh my goodness,
stunning. But so they got introduced on a blind date because Jensen worked with Jeffrey on Supernatural, and Jensen is married to Danielle Harris, who was on One Tree Hill with Hillary. And so they've been married for a few years. They had they were both in Austin visiting, and they literally set them up on a blind date, and it was like a blind double date. So like they went out to dinner, and they ended up back at like Jensen and Danielle's house, like drinking tequila until like 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And like, that's their meet cute, is they were set up on a blind date, and like I love that. So they got married, had a kid, and so Jeffrey was telling the story about how his wife is really happy that he's gone a lot. Like he was gone a lot filming the Walking Dead because he swears like a sailor, and their kid was starting to speak and starting to emulate daddy. So because he just swears like a sailor. And so when I went to go get my autograph, I was like, I swear like a sailor too, and it's really hard for me because I work for Disney. And we literally stood there talking, and we held up the line for like a good 3 minutes, but like he wouldn't go. And he's like, oh my God, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm on a day off. Like I'm at the Pantages. And like my friends gave me the day off because I fucking had to meet you. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so fucking excited. Like every other word out of each other's mouths was like a swear word. And we like bonded super hard.
Yeah.
Then later that day, I went to go get my photo op.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
I love and I literally walked up, and as soon as I walked in and like he saw me, he was like, oh my God, swearing buddy. And I'm like, I love you so much, you're the best. But let me see, I have this other one with him that was like,
oh my goodness, this brings me so much joy.
It was so fucking perfect. So the photo op that I wanted, that was another one. That was okay, so this is the one that I got in Pasadena because we literally, like, I walked up, he hugged me, we talked for a few minutes, for a few seconds, which pisses the people off there. Creation runs their autographs and photos like, oh, you need this experience. They hate me. And so I like talked to him. I'm like, can we just turn around and flip the photographer off, whose name is Chris? He's like, he does all of them. I've met him a million times. Chris and I are good friends. So we literally turn and do this.
Yeah.
See, a good one. Yeah, it's the best. We both just looked so fucking surly, and we literally turned and flipped Chris off, and he was like, "Hey!" The whole line just starts laughing, and so I just that's my meet cute with Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, and Rachel, your meet cute is the coolest story that anybody watching is gonna hear for, for however long. Like. That's the infectious quality you have, Rachel. Is anybody who meets you is like, man, this person is just a wonderful person that I need to know and get to know more and just spend time with. Because come on, like, wow, like what an experience. What a
yeah.
Hot dang.
I've got a lot of Supernatural convention stories that maybe should not be told, but
for future episodes, like
yes. I would love to get the boys on for this because we literally, like, I went to so many conventions that they recognized me on site and knew my name. And so, yeah, it was very weird. I was like, please don't act like we're friends because I will stalk you and I will make sure that we are friends and we will hang out.
Like The Boys, the Amazon TV show?
Well, kind of.
Rachel,
because technically Jensen is now technically yes, because Jensen is now on The Boys because it's an Eric Kripke show and Eric Kripke created The Boys as well as Supernatural. Everybody in the Supernatural fandom refers to Jensen and Jared as the boys, no matter how old they get, 'cause, like they're in their 40s now.
Gotcha.
They're constantly referred to as the boys. And I have met them the boys. Met them so many times, have gone to like external shoot days in Vancouver and like hung out. We called it set stalking, where we would just literally like watch them and like the PAs. We became so known with the cast and crew that they were like, oh, they're here. Great, just stand behind this line, and then they would just like leave us for hours and like not even monitor us because they knew that we were respectful and like we were like, this is something that we know is not normal. Like this is something that you're allowing us to do, and we're not going to cross the boundaries and like make it so that you're angry with us. And so like my mom came up one year after there was a Supernatural convention in Vancouver, and my mom came up after, and my friends and I were hanging out after the convention. Like, you know, the convention ended on Sunday. We were hanging out till like Thursday. So we went to like a shoot date, and it's external. So people were hanging out like across the street watching whatever. And Daniil rolls up in this black Escalade where Jensen is sitting in Baby, the car, like parked on the street, and Daniil rolls up next to him. And like, you can see, like from our angle, we could see Jensen's face, and he was like flirting, whatever. And my mom from across the street yells at Jensen, "You're a married man!" To which makes all of the fans die laughing because we all know who's driving the car and who he's flirting with. So Jensen looks over, Daniil looks over, and she sees my mom, who is like legit livid. Like my mom's just like angry. She's like, "Oh, he should know better." Like, "Oh, what a cad." Da, 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 da. And like Daniil starts laughing. They pull off. Jensen looks across the streets. Now he has a straight view at us, sees my mom, and then sees me, and he goes, "That makes sense." Because we're all dying laughing. My mom's like, "Why are you guys laughing?" We're like, that's his wife. His wife.
Rachel, it just makes so much sense that your mom would have the integrity, like at that core level, to be like, he's not respecting his vows. He needs to understand that he is disrespecting his wife. And it's, you just like, you haven't seen the rigmarole. You need to just understand that this is where he's coming from. And then he has this whole backstory of like seeing you and being like, yeah, okay. No, I get it. I understand. Like, okay, I'm going to go to set, but I hope you all like have figured out like this drama that's going on. Okay, goodbye.
He just started laughing. He was like, "Yeah, that figures." Like,
and you're just there like, "Hi, she's here with me." I
at one point he just looks over and I was like, "She's my mom," and he just starts laughing. Just like, "I'm sorry."
It's the funniest because I've worked on a ton of closed sets that for most people that know, like, for the most part, productions try to stop sets from shooting out in the open because they want to keep it secret, all that kind of stuff. But the biggest fear for the PA or the security guard that has to stop anybody from coming by the set is like a bunch of bozos being like, "What are you shooting here? What's going on here? Can I like come in and like talk?" And it's like, no, like stop. But if you have regulars that understand what's going on, it's the biggest comfort to be like, "Hi, everybody," and everyone who's like, "Hello, we're here. We understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about us. Like, we're here to have a good time." It's just, there is a relationship that forms, and it really is a bond that means something. And it's those little aspects of the content that people ingest and are created that people don't understand that, people who make this stuff are real people and have emotions and have relationships. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan can swear like a sailor, and that means something to his family and his kids, but also to his fans, and has a different relationship. But also, you know, we all have a relationship to the content we make, and for you to like bring your mother and to expand that relationship, and for everybody to like be engulfed in that, like, that's the point of all of this, for all of us to be involved and be fans and to, you know, like meet the creators and have fun and all that fun stuff. Like, that's so heartwarming that your mother is there, can make a comment and all the fans laugh, and the, you know, the people showing up see that and go, all right, Rachel's here. We understand kind of like, the baggage that the emotionality that's going to come along. And what a weird, fun world we all like inhabit and have such a weird time in.
It was fun. Yeah. I mean, the day before they were doing a scene inside, like on location. And then the boys had to like run out and like hop into baby and like drive down the street. And so we were far enough down the street where they would pull up and like stop right next to us. And because like we were all fans, like to the point where like we'd all gone to conventions, and like literally the day before or whatever, like we were taking photos with them. They recognized us. They would like stop the car next to us and like talk to us for a few minutes, and then they'd reverse and go back and do the scene over again. And so we were there for like fucking like 6 or 7 hours that day.
Wow.
Just like hanging out and like watching the shoots, and just like it was like a communal hangout. Like those were my friends at the time. Like we were all very much into the show, and
totally
that was the family, you know. And so it got to the point where we were all just kind of exhausted, and like people were like running off to get food or whatever, and like we had hung back, and their stunt guy Phil shows up, and he walks by us, and we all greet him because we all know each other, and he like walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, I've got some stunt mats in my car. Do you guys want to use them and like sit on them? Because like you're sitting on the ground." And I was like, "Oh my God, yes." So like I literally like went to Phil's car and like picked up mats that they used for like rehearsal and like brought them outside and like put them down, and some of the girls were like, "What's going on?" I was like, Jared and Jensen have sweat and like probably drooled on these, and like we
get out the test tubes, ladies. We got
I love doing this now. I love freaking them out. We have this great relationship where we're like, you know, I'm not dangerous. I know you know I'm not dangerous. So we're just gonna fuck with each other. So like at one point they roll outside and we're sitting on the mats. I think I'm like laying on my stomach, and I like make eye contact with Jared, and I just like lower my head down to the mat. I just go. He lost it. It's just the best. Like that man has drawn a penis in Sharpie on my arm. Like it's fine.
And people don't understand how special that is. That relationship to like,
it's such a weird
go that because you know you do that with your closest friends, and these are people that you've genuinely spent time with, and you've shown genuine integrity in the fact that I love what you do, and like, but you're not willing to stalk them, you know, like there is that like super easy, like regardless of how far you're willing to go for.
I'm not going to single white female them. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It's, you know, like there is.
Austin, I'm going to go out to the hill country 45 minutes outside of town and go to Jensen's Brewing Company. It's called Family Business. It's delicious. It's so much fun. And he and his wife and his brother-in-law run it. And we all know that. And it's fine.
We all know that. We all understand. And we're all.
We don't like go to his house. Like,
no. And
fucking creepy.
There's such a clear line between that. And like, this is something that I've haven't learned fully, but I'm attempting to learn like early on, is that celebrity culture kind of seems exhausting if you're a celebrity. And like, what is that realm of fiction versus reality. And like, even if it is as simple as an interview someone gives versus the content that they make. And it's like, all of it's on video. All of it is recorded and all of it is, you know, presented for people to see. And if you become the most famous person that's ever existed, it all exists, especially in this modern age, as a catalog for everybody to go back and look at. And it's just, you know, you gotta just be yourself and like, you know, be passionate and enjoy what you enjoy and love what you love and just exist as yourself in that moment and hope you're, you know, not screwing people over and being a mean person and like being mean to people. And like this fandom, this like joy that like this family that's created and like that people can interact with, like that is the ubiquitous future I hope that exists with everything. That like, you know, we're all on the same plane, that we're making stuff. And you know, whether we're doing this interview or whether we're making TV shows or movies and all that kind of stuff, we get the world has expectations of us. And you know, we're here to just make friends and talk about stuff with friends because Rachel, you're a wonderful person and I want to talk about you with other people and like tell stories because you're a wonderful person and all that stuff. I'm not gonna cry tonight, but
stop it, I'm getting misty.
I know, we're fine. We're strong people who have been on camera before, but
we're not overly emotional adults, I promise.
No, we're emotionally secure in our own beliefs and not at all doubting of ourselves in any way. But it is this, and it is, we're trying to answer questions that don't have answers, and that's the fun of it all, because we're all friends and we're all struggling through this. And to be able to sit outside of TV shows and like be friends with the people that are a part of it, like there's a weird sanctity to that is hard to explain and hard to just like interpret in this kind of format. But man, it doesn't make for a compelling story to tell for where we are right now. Hot dog.
The amount of times that I have told stories that have about things that have happened in my life and been called a liar, if I had a dime for every time, I'd be a millionaire. Because I've done some weird shit in my life that you've heard some stories where you kind of like, regardless of how well you know me and how much you know that I don't exaggerate or like tell tall tales or just flat out lie about shit like that. Like there's some stories that I'm sure that I've told you that in the back of your mind, you're like, did that really happen that way or at all? Like, it's so fantastical and so weird that like, yes, my life is ridiculous and blessed, but like now I'm like not living that life anymore. And I'm now like living at my mom's house in San Jose and not leaving my room most of the day. Like,
see, that's the thing with you, Rachel. It's like nothing is off the table of like, anything is possible at this point. And without saying names, like we met up like before quarantine started at the end of last year, and you told like of a long like kind of travel journey you were on with like a famous actor and all this kind of stuff, and just during concerts and all this kind of crazy stuff. And I'm like, you've gone through all of this, and like it's just, that's just the topping on the cake that has been the experiences you've had. And it's just, man, what a weird life experience that just like is its own movie that like just exists. And it's, you know, like everybody has something, and it's like, don't take anything for granted. It's like, you know, I've done stuff that I wouldn't, you know, like don't feel worth bringing up, but like I think are notable. But then there are other things that like I'm like, ooh, what a story to tell to people. But it's, I don't know, it's hard to package, and it's hard to like make a story to like interpret to an audience when you have a web show, because, you know, we're all just trying to be authentic. And, you know, when you just have story after story, like it almost kind of devalues what it is versus, I don't know, like that content is important, and that like those stories are important, and there's a value to keeping it to yourself because that motivates yourself versus let me just show you who I am and make an interview show and like talk about things. And I don't know if I'm getting too expressionistic and existential for the show, but like Rachel, the amount of stories I've heard from you and like the people you've met, I'm like, whoa, you've done crazy stuff.
Yeah, I have.
That's my.
And now,
that's my
but just like anything in life,
that's
like
mine.
it's like anything in life, like the everything needs balance. So like the highest of the highs that
Yeah.
I've experienced, I've also experienced the lowest of those lows, and like,
Yeah.
like if you want those highs, you have to be able to endure those lows. So like if you're not willing to sacrifice, and like if you're not able to deal with those lows, like you're swing,
Is it worth it?
the pendulum is going to swing smaller, versus my life has just been like an erratic like headbang, to put it any differently. It's just been weird and fucking fantastical and sci-fi at times, I guess.
And in this past year and a few months, like crazy to compensate with, crazy to just, what does that mean when I have to present it as a video? And what does it mean when I have to like talk to people? And it's, nothing is discredited.
Yeah.
No life experience anybody has is undervalued by the fact that we all now have to talk through our computers and, interact in this way. But it does bring to highlight, what, not what brings value to all of us, but like what is meaningful. And I think it is just these conversations, and it is just, we're easier to sift through the bullshit of just topicality and different like talk shows and all that stuff. And people are beginning to realize, like, no, we just want to hear conversations about experiences and like meeting Jeffrey Dean Morgan and flipping off the cameraman and like having great times. And these stories that are inherent within us mean so much more right now. And like, man, Rachel, for you to have this show where we can just like sit and talk and like bullshit about stuff, like, is so invigorating. Like, good on you.
Thanks. I did. Chris Taylor did have a question. Have I watched Jared's Walker yet? I have not. I am a binge watcher. And I learned because of Supernatural, I learned to wait until it's over to start watching, and not just the announcement that it's the last season, because I started watching Supernatural at the beginning of season 10 because that was supposed to be the last season. And then I got 3, because I was like, okay, I can binge 9 season. I can binge like 1 through 9 and then catch up to 10 in order to be caught up enough to watch the series finale at the end of season 10. Like I can do that. That's like 9 months. I can totally do that. That's totally manageable. I was living on the road. I was living on the road. We had like 8-hour bus drives and like, fuck it, I can do this.
All this free time.
Yeah, literally, you were sitting in a bus and could not move except for your laptop. That was the only entertainment you had. So yeah, I will binge episode after episode after episode of Supernatural. So I got 3 episodes in, and I was like fucking in, hook, line, sinker. Like, where do I sign my contract to the devil? Like, here's my soul. Give me Crowley. Like, here you go. And then 5 episodes in, I like got this notification on Twitter, and it was like, Supernatural has been renewed for season 11. And I've never been so angry or happy at the same time.
Yeah.
So, God damn it. No, thank God there's more.
I had a thing.
Right? I had a plan, and it was laid out, and it was going to be perfect. And then I had to wait 5 more years for the series to end. I'm still angry about it, and I still haven't finished it. So I'm waiting. So no, I will start Walker probably at the end of the 2nd or 3rd season. But I do love that Jared's wife, Jen, who he met on the set of Supernatural because she played a demon, who is like the size of his leg.
What a
no, dude,
so sweet story.
is the sweetest thing you've ever heard, because she came on to play the demon Ruby. And apparently he like instantly fell in love with her and was like following her around set like a little puppy. Like she would sit in her chair on like waiting, like on set waiting for plans or whatever, and be reading a book. And like they tell this story.
Rachel, I don't know if you can hear me, but you froze.
I'm back.
Okay,
so
cool.
She'd be sitting like in her chair with Jared at her feet, and he would just be like sitting, looking at her, like cross-legged, like rocking back and forth, being like, "What you reading?" And she's like, "A book." Like he wooed her.
He's trying to act cool when he loves her, and there was a
and then they like
story.
Now they're married, and like there's a whole episode. It's like the most meta episodes. It's called the French Connection, French Connection, where they travel into our universe where there's
they incorporated in the show.
Yeah, where Jensen and Jared play Dean and Sam, who come into our world as Jared and Jensen, playing Sam and Dean on a show about it is super fucking meta.
Oh my goodness.
They go back to Jared's house, and like Jen is there, and they're like, "It's Ruby," and she's like, "Very funny, Jensen," like blah blah blah, and they're like married, and like they have an alpaca. Like it's so fucking funny. Like they lean it so hard, but she is so tiny, and he's like 6'5", 6'6", something like that. Like he's a very tall man, and she is very tiny and short and just compact and stunningly beautiful. And she plays his wife on Walker. So yeah, it's the sweetest.
It's funny because I had the complete different perspective, because I watched the Chuck Norris Walker Texas Ranger series. Like it's, I'm not involved in a lot of like old TV shows, but like I was a big fan of Quantum Leap back in the day. I was a fan, Walker Texas Ranger, old X-Files, like kind of thing. Like I would watch a lot, but it's, I see the Jared like interpretation of Walker, and I'm like, I have no attachment to Supernatural. Are you ruining this? Like, but hearing that kind of story of like he meets his wife on the set of like Supernatural, and they incorporate that into the show, and it's the fact that they're willing to play with it on that level that I'm willing to binge watch all of Supernatural. Like that is a show that is so within my wheelhouse that I'm so ready to just sit down and lose myself for whether it's a month or Stardew. I know that X-Files is on Disney Plus, and I have so much time in the day, and I
honestly did not know that X-Files was on Disney Plus. This is a game changer. I binged X-Files like probably a good decade and a half ago, and haven't watched it since. So I would love to go back and re-binge.
Purely put on Disney Plus for WandaVision. I love WandaVision. Watching that currently, great show. Anybody watching, still, they got 2 episodes. I'm curious to see if they'll hit the landing for what I'm looking for, but love it so far. Holding reservations, not going to say any spoilers, but man, what a show. Disney and Marvel are doing great things with this format. Bada bing, bada boom. You guys are great. But all that kind of stuff. It's, and like a lot of this conversation we're talking about is between like movies and TV and what interests us and all that kind of stuff. But it is interesting that I'm curious as to what, with HBO Max doing what they're going forward with, all of the Warner presentation going forward and everything with movies coming to theaters and all that kind of stuff. We got a weird future coming ahead of us and all this crazy stuff that's happening in 2021.
Yeah, I definitely need to as more of these like streaming services get announced, I'm gonna need to start circling the wagons again and be like, okay, so who's got what? Let's exchange those passwords and get on each properties services. Like, yeah, who has this? Okay, you get this, you cancel this, and you buy this, and then we'll all just
Can we streamline a lot of the Bolshevik and like just figure out what's going on?
But going back to you wanting to binge Supernatural, if you want to do that, I would love to do a show with you about that as you binge through it. Like, we can cover like 5 episodes a show. I mean, it's hard to stop after a few episodes. Let me put this in perspective. I flew into Minneapolis to go to a convention there, and this guy who I've been friends with, like legit, our mothers were pregnant with each other, with ourselves, like at church. My goodness. Like we've literally known each other since in utero. Like friends for life, grew up together. He moved to Minneapolis. We lost touch a little bit. I ended up staying with him while I was there for the convention. He picks me up at the hotel, or he picks me up at the airport when I land. And as we're driving from the airport into downtown Minneapolis, I tell him about the show. We start watching it. The next day I leave for the convention. I come back at the end of the night and he's like 2.5 seasons in. Like he has binged so much. He like loses his life. He's just now dedicated to watching this show. He loves it so much. And he literally like texts me every now and then. He's like, I fucking hate you. Because this is all I realize.
What did you do to me?
Right? As soon as, like, literally, that is a text that he sent me at one point. He's like, what did you do? Like, what is my life? And I'm like,
I am cursed.
I didn't know that you were going to just dive in this deep. But he loves it so much. If you want to do that, I would love to do like a first watch versus like a multiple watch take on this.
Conversations need to be had, but I'm interested.
Yeah,
for sure.
We can literally just like do it, just the two of us.
Let's brainstorm. Let's talk about like, this is a live pitching with Pat kind of idea of like, okay, let's talk about, all right, we're gonna do a watch along. Like, I need to have
Brandy can join us.
We can lock in a segment of the audience, be like, all right, folks, we're starting it. Okay, first episode, episodes 1 through 10. Let's talk about it and go from there. Okay, let's figure something out because I'm interested. There's something there.
I haven't done a rewatch in a very long time. So it's always, I remember the last time I went to do a rewatch, because like I think it was like halfway through season like 13 or something like that, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and rewatch and like be ready for 14 and 15. And then I watched episode 1 and I was like, babies, they're so young.
They're so young.
Look, I was like, look, they have hope in their eyes.
It's been killed out by season 7 at this point. Wow.
Definitely killed out by like episode 3.
3. Yeah, no, season 1, episode 3. We all get it.
Oh yeah, dude, that would be amazing. I think you meant Constantine.
Yeah, no, but no. Star Drew is here to give us the facts that we need, and
you do get a Constantine vibe with Castiel. Like that's literally what his costume was designed around. But
it's the few memories that I know from Supernatural is that from season 1, I know a kid gets his hand put in a blender and the blender is turned on. And I understand that to be a difficult like moment in the show. So at the very least, like if we're talking about weird horror concepts, I know at the very least, like, okay, season 1 has got some weird things that I know I can jive with in terms of, all right, the show's going to get a little freaky for modern audiences.
It gets a little weird. They do have Monster of the Week type episodes.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Like the first episode deals with La Llorona.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking
and The Curse of Witch made a motion picture for the Conjuring cinematic universe, as we can all attest to, which I did not see.
I still stand by that. The episode was way better than the movie.
I buy that fact. I buy that fact a lot.
Yeah. The movie was kind of, it was okay. It's in there. It's one of those like redheaded stepchildren of the Conjuring universe. You're like, yeah, it's alright.
Good attempt, yeah. But okay, let's see what your next effort is.
Yeah. Well, have you been listening to music during this whole time and like writing and hanging out or going for walks?
See, I'm the worst person to ask about music because, you know, if we're talking about this this interview in its way, it's like my interests range so many different kind of, I don't know, different interests, which is a very platitude for a congressman to say for, you know, any answer for a question. But I love all music. I love rock. I love like musical. I love bluegrass. I love any range of music. But in terms of my go-to, my main go-to is Canadian folk music, which is so stereotypical for anybody that knows me, and as I can see from your reaction, makes a lot of sense.
It makes me so happy.
The main person I go to for Canadian folk music is Stan Rogers, who is probably the most famous Canadian artist of all time. Like people called him the voice of thunder. He has a very deep bass, very deep baritone voice. He died at like a very early age. I want to say 38, but it might have been early 40s, in a plane fire. And he released a couple albums as a Canadian folk artist, as somebody who just talked about the working man, talked about like just, you know, people who plowed fields or people who like fished, people who, you know, worked on boats that just like would not come back from the great storms that would like ravage their ships from, you know, the seas. Like he's very much a voice of Canada that everybody loves, and he's somebody that I want to make a movie about one of these days, because he really is one of these figures that just like encompasses a Canadian hardship, encompasses like a Canadian just kind of like vocality too. And it's, as somebody who, you know, wrong use of the word, but like very much like incorporates every aspect of Canadian livelihood in all of his music. And as somebody who doesn't have a wide range of music catalogs in their mind, like he's the one where I'm like, I know all of his songs, and I'm like, you give me that movie, man, will I tell you a story that'll influence the youngins of our days and get them to pick up a plow and start working the field and give them some good hearty lessons about life. And it's, you know, I love all music, as anybody does. Like but Queen, that's the most contemporary band I can think of on the moment. But like, I love Queen. I love any like rock album, like Nirvana, you know, Aerosmith, all that. I love music. I genuinely do. But if I'm going to talk emotionally about what I love, it's like folk music. It's Canadian folk music. It's Stan Rogers. That's the kind of like go-to that I go to. And anybody who wants to listen to his songs, like, it's going to give you that kind of wide range of introspection that any of my work that I make, I really hope encapsulates that kind of level of, you know, man, we don't focus on the simple difficulties that people deal with on their day-to-day. Like, that's what his music encapsulates, and that's something I love. And I hope that answers your question, and I hope that wasn't too rambling in terms of.
So he's kind of like the Canadian Springsteen.
Yeah, entirely. Okay. 1000%. Like, it really is the Canadian dream as opposed to the American dream,
right?
That like Springsteen could encapsulate.
Yeah, that's awesome. I need to give him a listen. Send me a text. Remind me.
No, I'll give you the highlights to hit. But like, anybody listening, Stan Rogers, the 3 songs to hit: 45 Years, Mary Ellen Carter, and The Last Watch. Anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, you want to get some hearty good tunes in, bada bing, bada boom, I just gave them to you. Hope you're listening.
And Starger says they could listen to Remy Shane.
Remy Shane. All right. Starger giving more homework to do on these podcasts. Okay. She's always willing to come in and give us a little extra insight into different things we need to look up and different information we need to make sure we know.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what this whole thing is about. Like, you know, I ask what your favorite movie is, and if I haven't heard about it or it reminds me of something that, you know, I haven't seen in a while, it makes me want to go back and watch. Like honestly, one of my favorite movies that nobody has ever really acknowledged exists is this really sweet movie called Waking Ned Divine. That
I don't know it.
Yeah, exactly. No one
Okay,
fucking
writing that down.
I only know about this because I was working in the movie theaters and it came out, and it like opening night was on like one of our smaller screens. Took my mom to go see it. Loved it. It's about this like it's about these two like older gentlemen on this island, like out off of the coast of like, I think it's off the coast of Ireland. And a guy who lives on the island dies the night that he wins the lottery, but they realize that they can call it in, and as long as the entire island agrees to say that one of these old men is the guy who won, then they would all split the lottery.
Okay.
But there's one like crotchety old lady who's like, yeah, but I can get half if I turn you all in. And like it's this really funny, like sweet little thing, and there's like all these little vignettes going on, and like they're trying. It's very, very sweet, and like it's such a darling movie that it's a tiny little gem that like nobody knows exists, and it's one of my favorites. It's so sweet.
That's a premise that I love the idea of. That's like so intimate yet weird enough to kind of like be weird and still have that aspect of this is a movie. This is like a weird kind of like movie premise, but then one person is in there creating trouble, and like you know, we have like the adversary to like have to confront. That's all right. Waking the Divine. That's on the list.
Sweet little thing, but like that's what this show's about. Like you talk about your life expectancy, like your life experiences and your favorite artists and you know people involved in movies and whatever, and you get to share things, and people may not have heard about them, and now you have new things to love.
And whatever. This is the first opportunity to. I hope they get it, and if not, they're ill-informed, let me tell you.
Right? Oh, the sad masses.
Those, I want to say snowflakes, but that seems a little too harsh for what we're talking about. So I pulled back immediately, and I was like, you're not snowflakes. That was too much. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's just such a knee-jerk reaction at this point.
We just have so many terms to be able to throw out now in terms of like people we don't like online. They're this or that, and I understand the ability to be enthusiastic and have stances and be important, but it's like know what you're talking about, know what you're standing for, and also if you're going to throw terms out there,
make sure they're the right one.
Yeah, make sure you have the right one and understand, like, do you get it? Do you really get it? And if so, great. Throw yourself on that grenade.
And also, is this your fight? And also, is this the hill you want to die on? Like, really? Like, is it that big of a deal to you? Because
and it's like
the ridiculous hill that I will die on is that dude is a gender neutral term.
Mm-hmm.
But I also grew up in California, so that is like everyone is dude.
There's a qualifier to that one.
But also, I grew up in the 90s, and there was a song from Good Burger, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, we're all a dude. Like, yes.
We're all dudes.
We're all dudes. It's fine.
Yeah.
Nobody uses the term dudette. Dude is gender neutral. I will call everyone a dude. I do not care.
And anybody who has a problem with that,
are more important that I won't die for.
Totally. And it's, you know, like, I hope we can all get on the same page and agree that I'm going to call you a dude, and don't take it the wrong way.
Or girl.
Are we cool with that? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Rachel, we live in such an interesting time, and I'm not tired. I'm not tired at all. Like, I'm tired of a lot of things, but I am tired of the simplicity of us all getting along online should be as simple as I think it is. It's just, yeah, we're all here to do the same thing, which is just enjoy the craziness that we're all experiencing. And I get it. There are political stances to take. There are genuine causes for us all to fight for. And like, trust me, I'm more liberal than I am conservative. And there are things that I want to fight for that need genuine stances for. But when we're here and we're all having a good time and we're all enjoying each other's company, we're all dudes, we're all dudettes, we're all gals, guys, thems, theys, here's, theirs. Like, we're all here just to make sure that we're supporting each other, and it's creative and it's fun and it's involving. And like, that's the thing that, especially on the PJ Campbell network that I'm on, is like, we don't care who you are, just come, feel involved, be a part of our community. And that should be obvious, that I shouldn't have to say any of that, but man, does it feel weird when people fight against that. Like, it's, we're all suffering together, and like, let's make it a little bit easier by enjoying this communal, bullshittery time where we get to talk about your mom yelling at Jared and like, you getting it along with the other fans, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan flipping off the cameraman, and me making a mockery in front of my friend. Like let's enjoy this no matter who we are.
Yeah, we're all fucking weird. We're all scared. We're all angry and sad and happy and depressed. Like, just fucking screw it. God
fuck
damn.
it. Let's just
so angry. Like,
yeah.
Although I will say the phrase that I've stopped using during the pandemic is "go fuck yourself."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although maybe because at first I was like, that's like the best thing you can do for yourself.
Get some release.
Like that's like literally yelling at somebody, like, go have an orgasm, like, go have the best time of your life, like, go do that. And then I was
let go of all your problems, please.
Right? Go be happy. But then I was like, then I altered it to "go fuck yourself" with sandpaper, and now I think I'm kind of like going back to like the like, go fuck yourself, like go release, go have a good time,
get it out,
go be happy for a little bit, and like unclench, and like maybe you won't be such a dickhole, like
come back once you've let it all like out, like let's all be together on the same page, which is stop.
Everything is awful.
Yes.
Stop. Oh my God. Stop being so angry.
News flash. Things suck. And it takes us coming together and not sucking to like make it not suck. Like, if you're gonna cause the stress here, we don't want you. But if you are and you got pent up energy, go fuck yourself, get it out, and then come back. Okay, we can talk about it then.
Like, that'd be such a great commercial for like any of like adult toy companies, like the Snicker company had the whole like, you're being a diva, have a Snickers. It's like, you're being an asshole. Here's
go fuck yourself. Yeah,
here's a vibrator. Here's a cock ring. Just go enjoy. Like, just go.
Get it out. Like, just like. Ooh, whatever it is, like,
take a 20, just go.
You need a Snickers, you need a little bit more than that, just like
you need some me time, like,
we get it out.
Get it to get it out. It's a great slogan.
That's what I'm gonna live by. For if anybody asks me, get it out.
Just get it out.
Rachel, I missed you.
This is what happens when we like hang out.
It's beautiful. Everybody's here for it.
This is what friendship is.
Yeah.
It's talking about masturbation.
With no fear.
With no fear. And no judgment. Oh my God.
If we were at a Supernatural, like, fan meeting, they would be in on it, and they're like, "Yep, we get it. We get you guys. We're all here to understand."
It's all fine. It's all understood. It's totally fine. I miss you so much.
I miss you too, Rachel. Oh my goodness.
I I can't even, like, I had a thought and it just like went out of my head because I was just like filled with this happy feeling of like getting to talk with you and laugh with you. It just makes me so happy.
I know, but
Okay.
I am refusing to cry right now.
Here's a fun question. Okay.
Mm.
So say tomorrow you get to go to a movie theater
Mm-hmm.
with all of us. Everybody, all of your favorite people are in the movie theater.
Okay.
What movie do you want to watch first? Old or new?
Is it a movie that is scheduled to come out? Like, what's the cutoff period for, like, does it need to be already released or about to release?
Let's say something that should have already been released but has been pushed back is like the latest, or like is scheduled to release this year.
Okay. The one I will say in terms of just the celebration, the celebratory, like, kind of environment we'd all create is Marvel's Eternals. Like, that's the one that is the question mark for a lot of people. And I just have so many moments of seeing movies with all of you guys and just like celebrating all that. And like, as much as I want to make art that's like deep, dark, like, you know, has messages and like goes against the grain, all that, I love a good movie theater experience. And man, does Marvel create that. And like, right now, whether Eternals lives up to the idea of being something new, I know would be enjoyable and entertaining with my friends. And like, that's the one where, man, do we get the popcorn, do we get the drinks, and we sit down and we just sit for hours afterwards and talk about what goes on. Like, it's the generic answer, but man, is it the one that I want to fulfill my soul for, you know, what we've all gone through and what I need right now, which is just hangout time with you guys and to talk about this fandom and everything that goes on with it. But yeah, Marvel's Eternal, like Black Widow, I'm excited to see, but like Eternals is the one where I'm like, what's new? What's crazy? Let's theorize. Let's get crazy with this one. Let's get intense. But yeah, that's the one I go with.
What about a movie that's already been out that you know is like a favorite? Like a Jurassic Park type, like one of those where like
Ooh.
we're all just like hanging out, like super excited and like get really excitable about.
I think the movie I would go back to, which is one of my favorites, and I think everybody I'm in the circle with that we could all find something to latch onto, is The Social Network. That's the one that like inspired me to be a director, is the one that inspired me to like get into movie making. And I think that's a movie that is so prescient nowadays and has so much to say about like modern society, even though it's made back then. But then there's so much to talk about in that kind of Marvel conversation of like characters in that same way and like how they've progressed and what a sequel could be and all that kind of fun stuff. Like, that's the movie that I think could just like really give into that conversation and really laid bare movie making and talking about movie and punditry, and just for my friends and I just to sit down and talk about, well, what did they get right? What did they get wrong? Like, what more could we talk about for this subject? But Social Network, it's one of my favorite movies, and I think if we all sat around a table and talked about it, I think we'd have an interesting conversation.
I think that's a good one. I think my old school movie would probably I think it would be Jurassic Park.
Oh,
Just because it's one of those like, it's one of those movies that just hits you in the heart, like
yeah.
like for all of us, because like we're all like 30 and above, you know, like late 20s at the youngest, like, you know, we're all just like in that age of like we grew up with that and it's such a nostalgic thing. And like, honestly, have you seen it in theaters when they re-released it?
I saw it in 3D when they re-released it, and it was the best 3D movie I've ever seen. Like, it's
terrifying.
Yeah.
It's
and it worked.
Scary. Yeah. I went to go see the 20th anniversary. I was in LA on tour with Beauty and the Beast, and a friend of mine and I went to go see it at the ArcLight on Sunset. and it was amazing. Like with that sound, it literally sounded like the dinosaurs were behind us chasing us. Terrifying.
It's such a film school movie in that kind of way of like, wow, it's kind of perfect in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And then I went and saw, or was that the 25th? And then I went and saw the 30th release at Burbank a few years ago. And I literally sat next to this woman who had her 2 sons, and like one was like maybe 10 or 11, and then like the younger one was like 8 years old. And I swear to God, he was Tim. Like, he was so excited to see it. He was standing up like the entire movie, and like there was like a seat between us, but he was like standing up right in front of his seat. He was so excited. He was like talking and asking questions. Like, it was the first time seeing. I was like, oh my God, this makes me so happy. Like, oh my God, this is the best movie experience ever.
Wow.
It was so sweet. So I think that's my old school movie, because I feel like we would all just be like that 8-year-old kid again and just be like, this is so cool. And for the new movie, I think I would pick Top Gun Maverick, because I feel like that's one that we're all super fucking excited for, and we're all just going to be like, I feel like that's the closest. Feel like that's going to be the closest in theater experience to a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
In a really long time. Like, it has that like nostalgia feeling to it. Everybody's so excited. It's like a Top Gun meets Mission Impossible, like meets like that old school nostalgia. I feel like it's just a really powerful movie for our friends group. So.
And apparently Paramount has gotten so many offers to buy that movie from them, and they're like, no, we want to wait to release this. So it's like, they know there's something special there. They know they have something. And as somebody who's seen Top Gun, was like, no, good movie, bros, like just hanging, being dudes, like whatever that, all that fun stuff means. But
playing volleyball shirtless.
Hey, we all just hang out, we have a good time, like, oiled up, whatever. It's fine. But
you made them all Italian.
hey, spaguzzi. Like, but that's a movie that I'm very, man, do I want to see that in theaters? Man, do I want to have a collective, like, just, moment with, like, audiences and just enjoy.
Here's the thing is that, so you know how, like, everybody grows up with, like, an amusement park that's, like, their childhood? Like, that's where you went as a child?
Mm-hmm.
So the one that I grew up with is Great America, and it got bought out when I was like maybe 9 or 10, and it is now Paramount's Great America.
Oh.
So, like, they have a Top Gun ride. And but they also have an actual IMAX theater there.
Oh.
Like, we're talking like legitimate IMAX, not like AMC does it right every once in a while, but like their IMAX screens are not necessarily always IMAX screens. This is literally like an airplane hangar, like complete vision. Like, you can't see anything other than this screen, no matter where you sit in the theater. And so I'm like, my dream scenario is that, like, that's where I can go see it. That's like I want to ride the Top Gun ride right before, and then I want to go to my seat in the IMAX.
Oh,
get
Rachel.
my popcorn and just live.
Oh, Rachel.
I know. I live a very colorful and fulfilling life in my fantasies.
But, like, what what truly inspiring goals to have. Like, for me, at least, I listen to that and I'm just in awe, because, man, would that sound like the greatest night of my life, just to have a Top Gun ride into, like, the new Top Gun, and just on an IMAX screen that's worth it.
Yeah. Like, I will give you my money. Like, I will give you all of the money I have right now, which is not a lot because it's pandemic. I will give you all of it. I don't care. Like,
just give me that experience.
I want that experience. And, like, I swear to God, if they offer to do that, like, this is an amusement park that had one of those, like, chairs that, like, they had, like, a big screen, and, like, they did a Days of Thunder ride. Let me just put it this way. So, like, there was a screen, there was, like, literally an airplane hangar, and, like, a screen down the middle, and, like, seats on either side. And, like, the seats were, like, a double seat, and like they would rumble, and it was like the car racing thing, and like you could feel the movement like along with the visuals,
like 4DX, kind of like, all right, we're getting intense.
Yeah, it was kind of Star Tours, but like on a smaller like instead of it having just be like the entire thing like moving as one, everybody like pairs. And so you were like turning and, like braking and shit. Like you could feel the pit stop, and like it would vibrate where the tires were supposed to be. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But like that's the level
that
it was amazing. It was like that was the level that my childhood had to like establish.
But imagine that for Top Gun, like the new one to come out, and I'm like, come on!
I want it. Who do I have to call? How many?
These are the gold ideas that people like listen to on these kind of shows, and just need to like, all right, Top Gun, like theater experiences with roller coasters. That's going to make us $1 billion, as we all know.
I'm like, I don't even care if I get the credit or any money for this. I just want to be able to be one of the first to experience it. Like, just let me do this. Like, you can make all the money. If you give me a little, I'm not going to be upset. But I just want to be able to experience this. Like,
if you can will it into existence, like, here you go on a platter. Take it. Just take it.
just go. Breathe it into
the atmosphere.
Oh God, I just want it so badly.
Oh.
There's so many.
Oh, Rachel, we have such dreams. We have such dreams for the future.
I feel like the chat is just like listening to us and being like, these guys are fucking
what lunatics. Like, what are they talking about? Talking about freaking Star Tours and Top Gun. Jeez, I'm here for hard politics. That's what I'm here for. Wrong show, guy.
Wrong show. You've never listened to we take a very strong stance on politics in this show.
It's just don't be a dipshit. That's all. That's my strong stance.
Just don't be fucking stupid. Be nice.
Care about people, please. Easy.
Like you don't even have to care about people. Just don't be a fucking dick.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between like actively going out and like, you know, caring for people, and there's those people that actively go out and hurt people. If you don't do anything, you're doing good at this point.
Yeah. Like if you're not engaging. But it's like if you can engage and like create change for the better.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Agreed, Star Dude.
We try.
We're working on it. It's not a political channel, but we have opinions.
Have you ever seen the movie Paint Your Wagon?
No.
It is a Western musical with Clint Eastwood, made in 1969. It is fantastic. It's one of my favorite things I've ever, like, I grew up watching this movie. It's so much fun. Lee Marvin is in it. It's really fucking fun. But
Gene Seberg?
Oh yeah.
What's her name? Seberg. It's it's not French, but it sounds French. Gene Seberg. Paint Your Wagon.
I think it is Seberg. But yeah, it's about these people who are trying to like go like their journey into California to like be gold diggers, or you know, gold miners, I should say. Mm-hmm. And then they get stuck, and they form this town, and it's fucking insane and ridiculous. And like the movie is basically like two separate stories. Like there's a point at which like one story stops getting told and another one starts getting told, and you're like, mm-hmm. Okay, but it's still fun. I'll go with it. I like these characters. And also, Clint Eastwood, not a terrible singing voice. I'm going to say that right now.
It's a musical?
It's a musical. It is a Western musical with Clint Eastwood. Yeah. It's so much fun.
Are we doing a watch-along party? Let's talk about it. PJ, are you watching? No,
fuck that. My movie. Let's do it.
Rachel, let's do a watch-along and figure this out. Okay.
It's so great.
Paint your wagon. Okay.
Paint your wagon. But there's this line in it that I can't remember who says it. I think Lee Marvin says it. He goes, kill them all, let God sort it out. And every now and then I get that point. Like in the election, I was like, oh my God.
Lines like that just like cut to the truth, and you're like, I feel like we need to implement that.
Yeah. I feel like I hear paint your wagon from a TV show before. I mean, maybe.
We're here to impart history. So regardless.
It's one of the movies that I wish was asked about constantly on the Schmodown.
The Schmodown. Paint your wagon vibes. I got you for this one.
It's so good. They have like the town that they live in is called No Name City. Like, and there's a whole song about it, about how like there's no laws and like it's literally like Sodom and Gomorrah. Like nobody cares. There's like a whorehouse and a gambling, like 3 gambling house. It's so fucking funny. That's so good.
And it's one of the. It takes somebody, and I can convince PJ to do this, like somebody who creates the questions of like, just watch Paint Your Wagon, all right? Start making questions of this, okay? Let's start incorporating this into the Schmodown.
But like the sad part is I'm like, I'm so selfish about those things that I'm like, no, but they have to be in my matches.
Yes,
Like, I get
can't
angry.
Be in one of these other Christian Harloff versus Josh McCouga matches.
I legit get like angry when I see the Kevin Smith wheel slice on anyone else's match, regardless if they land on it or not. I'm like, no, you don't get to waste my questions on these people who don't know or appreciate these movies.
You don't get it. I'm the only one who understands.
You don't get it. It gets a little sad and a little possessive. I'm not gonna lie.
I understand wholeheartedly.
Like those or like literally like the Kevin Smith slice, the Disney slice, maybe Pixar every now and then. Musicals, I'm like, oh, I know all of these questions. These are my lives.
Why can't they be for me?
Like I literally watched Kiss Me Kate and shit, what else did I watch today? Oh my god, what was the second musical?
Do.
I can't remember. I've been watching all of these fucking musicals lately because because I toured with musicals and Broadway shows for so long.
Totally. I remember them.
I mean, the day that I rewatch Beauty and the Beast, like the animated movie, is the day that I know that I need to get to go into a sanitarium. I spent 5 years on that tour. 5 years. I listened to it 8 times a week.
And if you need the fix, just like hitting that Disney original is going to be, I've jumped back in. I need help. Somebody pull me out of this. Like
people were angry about the question that they had about about the LeFou question about in Beauty and the Beast what character disguises himself as a snowman, and I was like, oh, it's LeFou. Like, didn't even have to think about that. Like, I know that fucking movie forward and backwards. Like, I don't care. I will answer. Like, I could be like 95 and deep in dementia, and you could be like, oh,
any Beauty and the Beast question.
What was the name of the feather duster in Beauty and the Beast? And I would be like, her name is Babette.
Give me the points, Sonny.
I've been burnt by you before. Like, I will legit recite lines.
All right, we're learning where Rachel is kind of the death nail in terms of categories.
But then they get asked about, and I'm like, you're wasting these questions on people who don't appreciate them.
Like, I'm here right now. Please, Schmodown.
Like, I feel when those questions get asked, like everybody else feels about all of the questions that I miss.
Yeah. It's just, but that's the fates. That's the beauty of the competition is like, you know what? The wheel is spun and we get the questions we're given and hope they're fair. Yeah. I'm not here to impart any judgment because I've never been on a Schmodown. Christian, call me. But past that, I'm just, curious as to the decision making when it comes to some of the categories that are chosen for certain competitors.
What would you put on the wheel for yourself? Like, it doesn't have to be like an existence. Like, it doesn't have to like adhere to the rules of like what the slices we have to put on. Like, if you could put two slices on the wheel, what would they be?
I think one I'd put on is Spike Jonze movies, because I feel like those weird kind of like there's enough there to kind of like give a different category, because I think he's done enough stuff. I think Spike Jonze, and then that's a good question. Anthony Hopkins, I think, is an actor who's like in enough weird categories that like ranges different franchises, let alone like indie films, like that. I think the Anthony Hopkins quote or character from a movie could actually span a pretty wide range of like film cinema. I see, that's the thing, Stardew, with horror, like I think that's too simple, but I think Brandy, don't try to butter me up right now. Gosh darn it, not enough people have seen my stuff to be able to have a slice, okay?
I think someone's gotta cry.
Yeah, Brandy. But Spike Jonze and Anthony Hopkins, those are the two slices I think could provide, like, at least for Pat Hogue, like, you give me a chance to answer some questions when it comes to that.
Anthony Hopkins, I don't know, dude. That guy's got a career that spans like
it's long,
5 decades.
It means a lot, which I'm like, okay, that's difficult. You can do like, Elephant Man to Red 2.
Yeah. Has he not been in any movie since Red 2?
No, he's probably done some stuff.
I'm sure he's been in stuff since like 2014, 15.
Anthony Hopkins, hold on. We're looking him up, folks. Everybody
look at IMDb real quick.
Calm down.
While you're looking at that, we did have a Streamlabs come in, courtesy of Miss Brandy. She says, you two just make me smile. Well, you know what, Brandy? You make us smile.
Don't make me cry. Brandy, it's just, you're always such just a beacon of light for any of the content that you're participating in and anything that you're a part of. You know this, but man, oh man, do we need you a part of our lives, because you just bring every aspect of the positivity that we're hoping to serve for any of this content. And welcome. You're always welcome, Brandy.
Whenever I see her name pop up in the chat, I literally internally start hearing, here comes the sun.
Doing doo-doo. And here comes the sun. And I say, okay, I have some answers in between Red 2. I'll only stick to the notable ones for Anthony Hopkins. He was in Thor Ragnarok, as we all know.
Right.
The Two Popes.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the famous show, and then a lot of other Westworld, which is a big thing that I haven't watched, but I know a lot of people have. Transformers: The Last Night.
That's right, that was after that.
As we all have loved, and then a ton of other stuff that I could honestly not tell you about.
Aw, Brandy. Well, I mean, it's. I feel like it's a mutually beneficial relationship. We provide things for you to watch, and you support us, and we love you for it. And it's just
Brandy.
This circle of love and sweetness and understanding. And it's a much better song than I thought you would sing. Oh, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if that makes me feel good or bad, because how, like, do you think I was gonna sing?
Listen, we gave our admirable efforts for that, but man, did we rock it.
Oh, 100%. Duet for the ages.
Oh, we're the live band that needs to start traveling.
Oh my god, I want to tour so badly again when all of this is over. Like, I legit stopped 2 years before all of this shut down, and I was like, I'm never gonna tour again. Everything's fine. I can just find jobs, and like, I want to live in LA. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm like, you know what I miss? I miss the Spy Bar in Milwaukee, and I miss the Tin Roof Bar in Nashville, and I miss
all these incredible spots.
Veggie Galaxy out in Harvard Square. I miss I miss my favorite one of my favorite venues in Miami. I miss going to Austin and hanging out on 6th Street after a show.
Ugh.
Like, I miss these things.
Rachel, you've lived the life we all want, okay? Done all the cool experiences.
But then again, I think about like the reason why I stopped touring, and it was because I was missing so many things that people took for granted, like birthday parties
Mm-hmm.
and engagement parties and weddings and funerals and those 2 a.m. phone calls saying, my boyfriend just broke up with me. Are you home? Can I come over? I need to drink and
Yeah,
hang out.
those
Like,
moments.
I missed out on so much of that I was like, I'm going to go home and like live a life and experience like being a real person, versus this like constantly traveling homeless person who just goes from
Which
hotel
is,
to hotel.
it is a real person lifestyle to live. It just
It's
feels so different than normalcy.
it's very, very different. And I lived it for so long that now I'm like, you know what I miss? I miss a hotel. like
Yeah.
like I do. I miss hotel beds. I miss being able to turn, I miss going back to a city and knowing exactly where everything is. I miss going to Cleveland
Ooh.
and staying at my favorite hotel and knowing that there is a hot yoga studio around the corner across the street, and knowing that a fantastic juice bar is just down at the end of the block. Like, I miss knowing that if I go on Tuesdays to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at like 10 p.m. that they do a light show. Like, I miss it like that, like
That's
it's so weird. And now I'm like, you know what I miss? I miss going outside.
it's as someone who's still figuring out what he is aspiring to in life, it is those little specific things that are only core to you, like are based on your experiences and based on, the people you meet and the value you find in the little, just tiny things that other people won't appreciate because they weren't there in that moment when you appreciated them. Like, I miss just kind of collecting those and all those like little special moments that you get when you express yourself and meet new people and do all this kind of crazy stuff. And I think, a lot of people are really yearning for that ability to just see things and experience things and to see old friends again, like you, Rachel, and like all this kind of stuff that we're just lacking.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, I've been him.
Listen, you want to track me down 2.5 hours into this interview? We'll have this chat. But gosh, Sean, I'll be back. Don't you worry. I'm just.
That means the Broadway show is over. That's what that.
Yeah. That now they have the free time to come down and track me and make sure that I'm.
They're slumming it on my show.
Hey, what's this guy doing over there?
Oh, Brandy. No, I would never be that cliche.
No. Hi, PJ. I'm not churning nobody.
Dare you? No.
Rachel booked me a month ago. What have you done?
I did. And I have had my
oh man, we're getting attacked by the whole group coming.
And D&I, the most handsome man in the world.
Hey, Rachel.
Okay, the most handsome American.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, I can live with that. I can have that kind of insecurity about myself.
I figured, Brandy. It's fine. What have I done?
This is the chaos that now I have wrought. I know, PJ. Okay, I have much to make up. But I don't mean to.
I'm not stealing any conversations from your shows, guys. That's the whole thing. Is we talk about something completely different on mine.
Sure. Even though I give Rachel the hot scoops that I won't give the PJ Campbell network.
No. This is where we're working out the bugs. So
the king.
All
the different flex. You don't have to comment
unless you're wearing a dress and walking down an alleyway ringing a bell. You don't get to do that on this show, Dan. We don't shame people unless they're really wrong.
And PJ can't hate me.
No,
I'm too lovable.
No hate.
Look at me. This is what the end of the show. Yeah, no, they finished one of their shows and they come in and they're like, all right, what's this asshole doing here?
You know what this is the equivalent of? This is the equivalent of like your roommate coming home after you've like told them like after you've asked them to like leave the apartment so that you can have a date. You're like having a really good discussion. It's the end of the night and they like bust in because they were at the bar drunk and being like, "What's up, bitches?" And
you're like, guys, listen, you can come home, but like not like this. Like don't ruin like the conversation we're having.
No, it's good. Too lovable.
All right, everybody, using that against me.
I love that this just all went downhill so fast.
I didn't mean to bring this.
We just turned into the show is Wile E. Coyote. And at any point, I never know when, but we run off a cliff. And then we realize it.
See, but then it's hopefully figuring out like what is the cushioning after we've fallen off the cliff, and hopefully it's a swimming pool with water and comfort, or it is a bed of bowling balls and nails that we're all gonna just fall apart in.
It's like that Chandler quote from Friends. Oh my God, this air sac is a knapsack. Ah, like.
That's what we have to provide. An air sac.
This parachute is a knapsack. That was the line. That's what I was going for.
I'm glad we're all on the same page. The comments have just blown up with like this asshole.
We're just acting over G. Campbell.
Rachel, I'm sorry to degrade your show.
No, it's fine. Actually, what Brandy is referencing is when I had Sean Sullivan on. Literally, we just got so fucking drunk, and we were talking about like cocaine stories and tour shit and like Warped Tour, and like the next thing I know, there's like 9 people on the screen, and people have changed. The small like logo above your head.
Yeah,
it to the PJ Campbell network and like shit. I just had no control anymore. I mean, sure, yeah, we can send the link. Fuck it. I don't think there's anything
happening.
We've talked enough about important things, I think.
It's now time to let the kids run the circus.
It's now time to let the patients run the asylum.
Rachel, I didn't mean to bring such. While we still have these last sanctimonious moments, it's been a wonderful conversation. It's been truly a blessed time, and now let's watch it devolve into madness as people.
You know what the funny thing is today I actually sent out an invite for to have somebody who I've been trying to get on the show, and I was like, you should watch tonight.
Get an idea of what we're gonna do and see.
Hopefully they're still not watching.
You know what, Rachel?
You know, if they are, if any potential guests are watching this, and this is something that I've sent to you, or you stumbled across this, I will say this: these are friends. This is a very special situation.
Totally.
If you are a guest of mine that we are not very close, this will not happen. I swear to God.
I mean.
But now the rails are off, and yep, the rail, what it is.
I mean, that all being said, Rachel, I'm gonna step away for a second and grab another drink. I'll be right back. Invite one of them in. I guess that's the kind of night we're having. Okay.
Perfect.
I'll be right back.
Awesome. All right. So PJ, I did send you the link. If you want to come on, whoever is still hanging out, guys, we'll take a little break. You guys can go grab a drink, go to the bathroom, whatever. I feel like this is just gonna devolve from here, and by devolve, I mean not in a bad way. It's just going to evolve into something weirder and stranger, and it's gonna be fun. Oh, send it to Max. Okay. I will send it to Max. Max is somebody that I haven't talked to in a few weeks, and it feels like months. I'm not going to lie, because Max and I have an after show, excuse me, for the Zoe's Extraordinary playlist, and they went on hiatus, and I am very sad to have gone 2 weeks without A, watching the show, and B, getting to talk with Max about this. To talk to Max about anything. It's just been a really, really weird thing. Hey, PLD, you can hop in too. Fuck it. Anybody who's got the link, join in. Let's just make this a free for all. Screw it. There he is. Hey, buddy.
How are you? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? And we got Hogue back. Everybody's good. Everybody's happy.
There's Hogue. He exists.
Yes, Max, I exist. And I haven't been avoiding people. Dan, you here as well.
Look how attractive this whole group is. It makes me very happy.
Rachel, you're the shining star out of all of us, okay?
No, I'm the switchblade. But
you can be both.
One of those starry switchblades.
The starry switchblade.
With all the Sharpie sides and the points.
Did you see somebody was like talking about potential team ups and team names, and they wanted to pair me with Riley so that we could be Team Supercuts?
Oh.
I was like, I want that on a personal level because I love Mark Riley, but also like that name is just so fucking perfect.
You could do, you'd have to have another competitor, but you could do the switch and the spur.
Ooh.
So, Max and Dan, this is my interview. What questions do you have for me when you're overtaken?
We also have another person hijacking in.
Welcome.
Hello
Any
there.
hot-hitting questions for He Who Shall Not Be Named, which is my...
Refresh, because I can't hear anything. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear anything. I'm going to refresh.
Okay.
Fresh.
Well, I've been working.
Good. It's going well.
Max, can you hear us? We hear you?
Blame PLD.
I can see all your pretty faces, but I hear no voices.
Oh, we can hear you.
Everybody, we're here
out.
troubleshooting live.
Here, I'll drop out. Maybe I'll do it. Hold on. Let's try.
Can you hear us? Can you hear anything, Max?
Hello?
I think he'll get in here in a second.
Nothing.
It was BLD.
I don't think that solved any issues, and that's okay because we're good friends that will be able to overtake any technical problems.
Correct.
Max, can you hear us?
It seems like a hardcore no for.
Oh, Brandy might have an issue. I don't know.
Hey, we're all friends, irrespective of the fact that Max just wants to ignore us because it seems like he's the one who's been avoiding everybody lately and not me. So let's all make him the villain and not me. And
we're not starting shit on my channel. That's not how.
Thank you. Sorry, Rachel.
We're not starting anything. We're finishing shit on your channel.
Damn it!
God
damn it!
Let's sell tickets and we'll all get a cut. Let's be smart about this.
We're all getting a cut. Well, okay, beat me up. Let's go with that. Okay.
Rachel, we told Pat he was getting paid in exposure. The fuck are you doing?
You told me nothing.
This is my channel.
You can't backdeal trade without my knowledge about my own likeness. Come on.
No, you'll just get a check in the mail. It's fine. I like to surprise people that way.
better, Max.
Embarrass them publicly and then surprise them with money in the long term.
Right?
Max, can you hear us?
He's still working. I'm going to say that's a no.
Oh man, I have so much power to be able to say things about Max when he's right
No, we're not.
there.
We're not doing.
No, we're not. This is your channel, and we're gonna have this a positive thing. So I'll only say good things about Max. But now,
Now we can't even hear him.
I feel
I
like
don't
he's
even
no.
talk
I
to
think
you.
he's faking it.
You're
I think
faking
he's
it.
not saying things for realsies.
Oh, and now we got.
Look at these morose motherfuckers right here. Looks like
Morose.
somebody. Looks like somebody shitting their cereal. Bong. Hi everyone.
Rachel, I didn't mean to bring this much onto
No,
your
you're
show.
fine. PJ,
Hi.
Pat and I were talking about how like when we all get together, we all just spitball and like
I'm listening.
we come up with like the best. Hi, baby. We come up with the best ideas for like shows or movies or whatever. Buddy, have I got a show idea for you?
Oof, yes.
I'm listening.
So we want to do a spin-off show of Dogma called The Bartender. And it's Selma Hayek in LA, and it's the story of her as a muse, as a bartender in LA, where like she just listens to all of these sad, like broken screenwriters or directors or something that just come to her bar
Throughout the
and
decade.
tell her these stories of things that like have gone wrong in their lives and the stories that they want to tell, but it's actually like real life, like this is
George Lucas.
this is the making
Like-
of, this is the beginning of Star Wars, or this is like Matt Damon
Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting.
That
Like,
man.
A little meta there. I like that.
I watched the shit out of that. I
The
watched the shit out of
bartender.
that. It's unfortunate that I'd have to give Hogue credit for coming up with it, but I'd watch the shit out of it.
no. We came up with it.
I said I'd give you credit. I don't want him to get credit.
Okay.
You know,
He came up with the name The Bartender. I was thinking Barkeep.
I think that's a much better name.
well, you know,
You could have said anything right there, Rachel.
I could have said the poopy doopy doop, and PJ's like, what an objectively better title than anything Patrick has come up with.
As I drop food. Yeah, 100% that is accurate.
That's what you
PJ, I haven't been avoiding you, I promise.
I don't know. You don't even text me anymore.
I texted you on my birthday after you texted me, and we're gonna confront this in public because I love you.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
And I want the double chicken fried sandwich, please.
Once again,
All right.
sir, this is a Wendy's.
And just giving away double downs. He's
There we
back.
go. Back.
Are you good?
Max, can you hear us, and can we hear you to support me in this time of my need?
Nope.
I can't tell if he's saying nothing because he doesn't want to support me or because he can't hear us.
Maxwell, I love you.
Yes.
I love you too. I love you too, PJ.
Gosh
There we
darn it, I
go.
knew it was because he didn't love me.
I'm not even joking. That just reminded me of something from my childhood. My little sister would go and hide somewhere in the house, and we wouldn't be able to find her for, I'm not even joking, hours. The only way we could find her is we would wander around the house going, Jamie, say mommy. And you'd hear very faintly in the background, mommy. And you have to play like, Jamie, say mommy. Like you have to find her like through like
That is
hot and cold.
so quickly a horror movie.
My sister was
So
awful.
quickly.
First
She
of
used
all,
to hide in closets, like in the very back corner of closets under the stairs, and like pop out when like she was awful, awful.
Paul, I love your sweatshirt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Dan, whatever is going on right now, like the combination of scruff and hair, chef's kiss.
Yes, keep it up. It's
Great
fucking perfect.
stuff. Really great stuff.
yeah,
I'd put him in Train Spotting 3 like that.
I don't want to address it because it's so wonderful. But actually, Dan, how's the job at the pot store going?
Good.
This is a true story.
Could you say that any deeper?
Good.
Max, stop it! You know what that voice does?
As
Max,
if it's just you.
Max, you
Yeah.
better give Rachel a compliment. This is her show, so you better
I keep forgetting I don't have power here. I was gonna drop Hogue out, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
Nope.
I
Hey,
can-
hey, hey. No.
I have power.
No.
Pricey thing.
I
We're
love
not
this.
I
doing
saw
Yeah.
things and I didn't like it.
Rachel knows how I feel about her.
I have missed you
I missed you too.
so
I missed
dearly.
you more.
These 2 weeks that of us not talking
They
on a
have
regular
been
basis,
painstaking.
excruciating.
They have moved so slowly. I felt like I was going backwards in time, and now I'm a fetus again.
I don't
Ew.
like it.
Ew.
It makes me sad.
Well, you're a hell of a good-looking fetus.
Ew.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I make fetuses look good.
Damn straight.
Oh, hey, Kelsey's here.
Stop that.
Oh, hey,
wait,
Kelsey.
Hi, sweetie.
Kelsey.
God damn it, where is it? Everybody keeps posting when I try to pull them up.
Hands up, I'm not doing anything.
Look, I'm sorry that we're all so popular that they want to say hi to us, but you know.
I'm very
Them's the
excited.
breaks.
I actually get to see Kelsey in a few weeks
Oh,
That's right.
because I'm going
I
out
was
to
supposed to go.
Orlando for Mike and Bethany's wedding.
Oh.
And I get to, I'm so fucking excited. I get to see Kelsey and I get to see Lindsay, Max and my co-host, and her husband Larry, and a whole bunch. I think Chance is coming out too.
Chance.
He is.
There's
Yeah.
a chance. There's a chance I'm going. It's
I didn't
my
get
work.
invited, so
It's my work, unfortunately. My work
PJ,
is like county champ.
come
on. it's a joke.
So if they relax the restrictions sometime between now and then, I obviously have a place to crash at the Action House or whatever. So
That place is so fucking packed. Apparently, like
all I need is a couch.
the fact that I have my own room at this point, I'm like willing to auction it off.
So
I might
Who
sleep under your
wants
bed.
to snuggle?
I'll
if it's
sleep under
not
your
too hot
bed.
already.
I
real,
keep trying
real
to
quick,
click on comments to make them display, but I cannot.
I know.
Which one do you want to do?
real quick, Rachel.
Mike,
is this
okay,
still
there
a part
it is.
of-
What's up, Mike?
What's up, Mike?
Hold on, Rachel. Is this still part of our like interview? Like, are we
This
just
is
like
the mayhem portion of the
keeping
evening.
it-
This is the
Like, 'cause
mayhem.
I'm
portion.
so
Music,
for that.
movies,
Like,
mayhem.
This is the
this
mayhem.
is accosting Pat Hogue for being employed. for the
Listen,
past-
I have triple the umbrage with you now. First of all, you're in New York. You say we're gonna meet up for coffee outside. Never even text me.
Wow.
Awful.
Listen, we already buried the hatchet on that one. It's
Second of
weird that
all,
that's coming up
you
again.
just disappear from the Pajukin for weeks on end without a peep. Hey guys, I'm busy working. I'll let you know when I'm done.
I already told them I had a job.
Nothing.
That's weird that he's bringing that up. It's
Third,
weird.
I find out that you were on a show the same time PJ and I host a show from Rachel's fucking Instagram. Wow.
She scheduled me before I had the job, and I
I
already
hadn't
told you
booked
guys about the
weeks
job I
ago.
had coming on. It's weird.
I will be sending you a bill for the back knife removal surgery I'm going to have tomorrow.
Joke's on you. I have no money.
Then I will take payment via fruit basket.
if you watch the interview that the wonderful and beautiful Rachel Silvestrini had given on me, you would have seen that I've talked about the fact that I have not been able to be a part of the PJ Campbell Network because I've been working and I've been having difficulty balancing both elements of my life and how much I love you guys and how much I want to be able to show that.
You see how much PJ believes what you're saying right now?
I was just about to be like, PJ, what are you reading?
Superman.
Okay.
PJ knows that no matter what I do, I will always have a place in his heart, and that he doesn't need to pay attention to me to be able
Go
to
fuck
know
yourself.
that he knows that I can do whatever I want.
Language, Patrick.
No, it's my show. Fuck that.
It's the mayhem. Mayhem.
Thank you, Rachel.
Mayhem.
Oh, I actually have a question for you four that I asked Pat that I really loved. Okay, so say tomorrow we can go into a movie theater. We're all together and hanging out. A, which movie from the past do we all watch? And B, which movie that we haven't seen yet that is scheduled to come out do we watch?
All of us. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, literally, our favorite people in a movie theater together.
We
Matt?
each get an individual answer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
PJ, get out from behind that.
So-
you
We have
answer
to
the
vote on
question
it.
too.
I'm sorry. Richard Donner came back and wrote Superman again.
No one cares. So
I'm more
for
important than Connor right now.
for the second part to your question, my answer is In the Heights.
Yes.
Easy answer. The first part to your question, knowing these clowns, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
All right.
That's a good choice.
I mean, can't go wrong there, right?
Nice. I like it. Who's got their answer ready?
What was the question? I'm sorry. I was reading Superman.
God damn it, PJ. I was talking, not Pat. So tomorrow.
I just whacked my head into my microphone. Thanks, PJ.
Okay,
I got you.
So Peach, tomorrow we can go. We're all going to AMC Burbank, and we get to watch 2 movies. One
Okay.
is one of our favorite classics, and
Okay.
the other is a movie that hasn't come out yet but is scheduled to come out. What are those
Okay,
2
perfect.
movies?
So Maxwell already picked In the Heights, so I'm not
Yeah.
going to pick his answer. So I'm going to say Kong versus Godzilla because I want to see that on the biggest fucking screen possible, and it's Godzilla versus Kong. Are you fucking kidding me? I've been waiting my whole life. Like, people make fun of King of the Monsters, but you don't understand. For someone who grew up watching the Toho stuff, like, to see those monsters fully realized with, like, a full budget and shit, and actually backed by a huge studio, and seeing them look like next level real was so incredible. I saw King Ghidorah doing shit that I never thought I'd see on that scale. So god damn it, give me Godzilla vs. Kong. I need this fucking movie in my life. And then Back to the Future because it's my favorite movie of all.
Wow, that answer was exhausting.
Just like my life. That's
I
fine.
guess everybody
Okay.
is rude when they confront people they
There's-
disagree with.
No, Pat. I think you're misinterpreting this as Max. Literally, if he sees an opportunity, he's gonna take it. If it's
Listen.
gonna be an insult, it's gonna be anything like that. We had a call the other night, and he ripped into James. James did not deserve it, but the joke was so funny.
Dan.
No, I know. I'm just saying you laid into him.
Yeah,
I
because
know what I'm saying.
because-
I'm not saying why you laid into him.
Listen,
because he's so bald.
Starger
Oh.
just
That's why he
said
always wears the
Highlander.
hat.
You're right. We
Ooh.
should see
Endgame.
Highlander on the big screen. Not Endgame. We'll just go see Highlander. Because we should
Max-
watch Highlander all the time because there can only be one.
Max refused to talk to me because
Can
I
you want-
didn't text him about being in New York City at the same time he was in the city, and at the moment when I thought we
He
could have a
lives
good
there.
friendship
That's a lot
and
of
give
air
a
quotes. That's a lot
moment
of
to
air quotes.
understand that we all like loved each other and understood each other. Listen, I knew I was in fault when I didn't tell him I was in New York City.
Okay, we're
But-
not dealing with that. We're answering the question right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
move
yeah,
on with
yeah.
your
No, you're
life.
right,
Quit
you're right,
fucking
you're
focusing on the past. God damn.
Hey,
Alright.
Hogue, you know what I have to say in response to that?
I'm so afraid.
Fuck you.
Max, no.
Okay, Paul or Dan, do you guys have an answer to that?
I think I do. For the old one, I would go. I want something kind of campy and cultish, so I'd say Big Trouble in Little China.
Ooh,
Yeah, there we go.
nice.
Good call.
And then also kind of like PJ, I want to see the spectacle, and I want to see Mortal Kombat.
Ooh.
That trailer is so
I'm
good.
just gonna say this once. That movie comes out on my birthday.
I'm seeing it in the
And it is
theater.
a gift to all of us. All right, PLD.
All right. Well, if we're gonna go new, I want to see Dune because I want to see Denis Villeneuve and that vision on a big screen. If I'm gonna go old school, I want to see fun. So I'm gonna try to decide. Part of me wants to do Clerks 2. Part of me is deciding on the like. I like the campy aspect. I might go back and go old school Flash.
Which one?
Flash Gordon from 19.
Ooh. All right, little Max Van Sydow, little Sam Jones. All right.
Sam Jones.
All right,
Alright.
I see you.
Like that.
Yeah, I had said that for the old version, I would love for us all to experience Jurassic Park together in a movie.
All right.
And then for the new one, Top Gun Maverick.
With it.
Oh.
Good call on Maverick. All right.
But
I'll
like with
give
a
you that.
very specific caveat to that, I want us all to watch it in the IMAX at Paramount's Great America.
Big or an IMAX or a Dolby, something like that.
No. This IMAX, literally on Paramount Great, like Paramount's Great America is an amusement park, but they
Yeah.
have an actual, like one of the original IMAX screens, and it is fucking like you can't see any. Like you have no peripheral vision. It's all the screen, and it is unbelievable. And they have a ride there called Top Gun. So I would want us to ride the ride and then immediately go and get our seats.
What
and
90s
sit and
comedy
watch
was
movies.
shot inside that theme park?
I'm sorry?
What 90s comedy was shot inside that theme park?
Oh, you mean the one that I got to witness being shot, which is Beverly Hills Cop 3?
Congratulations.
See, this
That
is
is
where
really weird going-
Schmodown Questionnaire versus Schmodown Questionee gets to like.
It was
meet
really
and-
weird walking into like driving up to Great America and it having been like completely redecked out.
Yes, Dan?
Don't they meet in the Schmodown?
That's a good point.
Yes.
Dan, do you feel good right now about the way that you're presenting facts and information?
I don't know if he's doing Randy Savage.
I believe his
or-
answer is yes.
Yes.
Or Jack Nicholson, or I don't know.
Well,
Well,
where-
I
Slater?
still haven't told my two
Slater,
movies that have been presented, but I don't know if anybody cares here.
But we've got some good comments in the chat. New release Green Knight, classic Pulp Fiction.
Green
That would
Knight's a
be
good one.
really fun. What else? Somebody else had something in here. Yes, Maverick. Thank you, Kelsey.
Yeah, if I can see Ed Harris on that screen, I'm happy. So
Yeah.
since he's in Maverick, I'm all about
Here,
that.
Rachel, I'll share mine for the group if
Yes.
they're willing.
Oh,
to
can you
hear it.
drop him out for me
No,
before he gets to
stop.
it?
No, Paul.
Thank you.
Stop!
The world's so much better. Thank you.
Stop!
Oh, the timing.
They don't
timing of that.
understand the love I have for them. That's the curse I bear. But the movies I would show is that in terms of the old ones, I would really want to see The Social Network with these goons.
The
in
old
theaters.
ones. The
The old
social network.
To be fair,
Jesus
it's
fuck.
11 years old.
It's over a decade.
It's
That's
in sixth.
older.
It's in 6th grade at this point.
It's the movie that. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. And then the new one I want to see with you guys is Eternals because I still cherish every memory we have seeing Marvel movies in theaters together because I love you guys and I hope you would understand that. Man, I feel these dramatic emotions when it comes to seeing movies. And yes, I worked a job for 3 weeks and I didn't do a great job communicating, but Rachel booked me for the show beforehand and I love you guys and you know that, but here we are and this is a slightly awkward situation. And Rachel, I love you, and Max and PJ and Paul and Dan, I love you all too, and I hope we can all be good friends and chums and not at all judge each other for our communication skills. What a drink I have.
Have you guys found your? God damn it! Oh my god,
Jesus.
that is a giant gun for Brooklyn.
That's what she said.
It's,
Are you
That's
implying that like gun
That's a
sizes
big
are?
barrel you got there, Maxwell.
Hey now.
you're an all-star. Get your game on. Go play. Hey now. You're a rock star.
Funny story. I
Go
was
on,
babysat by
get
their bassist. And I-
Jesus.
Oh my god! Okay, let's put that away. Pat, you got to see this. Pat, look at the screen.
God, started Brandy.
Have you guys ever watched movies from a certain era and found your vocabulary changing? Because I was watching a lot of 50s. I've been watching a lot of 50s musicals lately, and I literally called a friend of mine today a dame, and he was very confused.
Ain't nothing but a dame.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was not watching South Pacific at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I was in the middle of watching
really?
Kiss Me Kate
Guess we can't. Okay.
Mm.
because oof, that voice.
I apologize, Rachel. I'm not able to support you on this side because I'm an idiot and do not watch enough older films.
You should. They're great.
I want to. I need to. I'm bad when it comes in terms of the history when it comes to like.
In
old
fact,
school.
the oldest film Hogue has ever seen is Sin City.
I've never seen Sin City, Max. I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought you were going to say The Social Network, and that was really going to make me happy.
Oldest
for
film
that.
I've seen. Oldest film I've seen is Avengers: Infinity War. I don't know what
Jesus.
comes before that.
Every movie is an MCU movie. That's what he knows.
I have vegetables in my fridge older than Avengers Infinity War.
Oof.
And that's saying something since he just moved.
They were here when we got it. They just came with the apartment.
Gotcha.
They're still preserved. I guess we got to keep the
Oh, it's
tradition going.
me and Liz and the dogs and this onion thing. We have named it. We've named it Bob.
I have to wait for like 10
starts
seconds.
acting
and
like
I'm
one of
still
those
lost.
Muppet ones, if it starts like singing and talking to you every time you open the door, like
I'm
need
not
to-
convinced it's not a gremlin or a Muppet.
Don't go water on it.
I don't. Someone got a text message.
Oh, who got a text message?
I'm sorry I
Hey.
missed the joke, guys. Okay, I'm not perfect.
Stop
I don't believe that.
doing spy
Someone got
tactics on me.
text that you didn't get, Maxwell. So it wasn't you who got a text, probably.
No, I just heard someone's phone go bzzz.
I'm saying you haven't gotten texts recently a lot from people who were in New York.
No, that's true.
guys, I think the horse is dead. We can stop beating
I
it.
think that was technically an assisted drive-by. I'm not sure if I have that term right.
Does that mean you're driving the car?
I think it means PLD is like hanging out of the car, ready to mow bitches down as Max is driving. So
Yeah, that's how it goes. That's the natural progression.
Yeah, I picture PLD behind the wheel being like, "Hey, did you see that asshole?"
Right? 3 o'clock.
So Hogue, oh, thank you, sweetheart. Hogue, what did you do in New York?
See, Max, I feel like we've already progressed past this point because
But we were
haven't
not
been-
live on the internet when we had this conversation. I want the world to witness your bullshit.
Okay. If we're gonna talk about my experience in New York, Rachel, Paul, and Dan take a seatbelt. Max, you better just get ready for this ride. So I arrived one night at an Airbnb. Gosh darn, is New York intimidating to drive in? Because man, everybody's crazy in the city. Turns out you can just park in the middle of the street and it's fine. Everybody just has to go around you because that's crazy. Because that's just the normal way that people do things. So I go into the Airbnb.
So Pat, you're at an 11. I'm gonna need you to take it down to a 6.
No, Max, you asked for my experience in New York City. I'm going to give it to you, and it's going to stay up here, okay?
this is
So, no, we're in the city, and you know what? We move into the Airbnb. It's great. Everybody's having a great time. And you know what? We sleep through the night, and then the next morning, my friend is like, okay, we need to make sure that you're okay, so we take a COVID rapid test. So we wait in line for 2 hours to get a COVID rapid test, which is freaking freezing in New York City in the middle of December because, man, it is cold in that time of frame. And so we get through that. And so we get the COVID test. We're fine and everything, everybody. Let me tell you. We get friends. We get pizza. We go and visit Manhattan. We visit Central Park. We visit all the different parts of
You know
New
where
York
I
City.
lived in December?
What are you talking about?
Manhattan.
Well, let me tell you the irony of the situation because we were in Manhattan for most of the day because we started there, went to Central Park, went to Coney
I don't
Island,
think you
went-
used that word properly, but continue.
Yeah, Max, I apologize because I should have let you know. And I do apologize for that because I was seeing an old college friend. But we were visiting the city. Then I went to another friend in Brooklyn. We stayed there for the night, stayed in Brooklyn, got up the next morning, saw different places in Brooklyn the next day, and then just kind of slept because, man, was it exhausting to visit New York City in the middle of a pandemic. during a lot of different things going on during these different things. Because, man, was it an experience.
Breathe.
Did you just wear yourself out?
I did.
How-
And I'm
Need a
exhausted.
cigarette?
Are you the most neurotic Canadian there is?
Yes.
No, because Wayne Gretzky exists.
Well, he
Seth
owns a hockey
Rogen.
team in the U.S., so he's not Canadian anymore.
Let me just say, a lot happened in New York City, Maxwell. And I would have contacted you. I swear I would have, but it was nonstop and I was exhausted. And I'm moving there in April. And I hope you understand that I will see you in that time frame because I
I'm
will
busy.
reach out
I'm
to
busy in April.
you. What about May?
No, I'm gonna be out of town in May.
I mean, I can make time in June. How's that?
It's my birthday month, so it's usually pretty stacked.
Okay, I can probably find a free time in July.
Too hot to go outside.
Isn't it Fleet Week?
So, like, August or September, I can make some time.
We'll see.
All I
Okay, but
hear is
still-
so much bullshit coming from Hogue and making excuses for not.
PJ, you're used to that. Leave me alone.
This should be a new
Oh,
feature of your
guys.
show. A 2-hour interview with the guest, and then me and PJ come to rag on the guest.
Rachel, I'm so
Perfect.
just
No.
like boxing clubs up. Just like
No, I actually before you guys all joined, I told Hogue, I'm like, look, sometimes this show is like Wile E. Coyote, and sometimes we run off a cliff and we don't realize it. And then we get a text from PJ that's like, hey, send us the link. And I'm like, oh, that means I have an anvil strapped to my back. This isn't a parachute. This is a knapsack. And this is where it all goes downhill. And it's
and
wonderful.
here we
I love
are.
it.
Here we are. In a way,
I warned PJ that I was busy for the previous couple weeks, okay? Rachel was a genius and booked me a couple weeks ahead. And now here we are.
Well, to be fair, I only get these random bouts of like productivity, and I book like 2 months in advance, and then I don't do anything until I'm like, oh shit, I don't have anybody coming on in 3 weeks, and then I book 2 months ahead.
And Rachel, here we are
Here
with
we are.
the indication of that problem, whereas everybody jumps on me of like,
I would just like to say that Brandy said I would have texted Maxwell. Kelsey said same. Brandy same.
I mean, they're making a good case for Maxwell here.
was Maxwell supposed to book you when you came to New York? Is that how that works?
that's a good point. That's a good point, Paul. That's a really good point. Yeah, Max should have booked
Let
me,
me tell
and
you a
he
little
never did.
something about how this works. People book me.
I was just throwing the question out there.
That's fine.
I mean,
My umbrage is not with you, Paul.
It's a valid question, Paul.
and,
No, Paul,
and,
we like you. That's
and
the
actually
difference.
going off of that, Max, whenever you want to take a Thursday off, you have the Thursday.
Our show is every other Thursday, so
Okay. I'll be
Rachel, don't
I
give
will
in
be-
to him. He gives in to you.
No. Tomorrow is my productivity.
Yeah, Hogue,
day.
shut
So
up.
I'll be emailing you to see what date will work best for you in April or May.
to quote my favorite cleaning product available at your local pharmacy, Fabuloso.
It smells so good.
It
I'm
really
not
is
joking.
a
It smells-
delightful product.
It smells like lavender, but
It's
like
aromatic. It cleans.
aggressively lavender.
They really knew what they were doing when they picked that name.
I had
You know
no
what,
idea
to be
where Max
fair,
was
I
going
think-
when
I
he
think
started
that
that.
If I was ever described
want
as
to
a
know.
cleaning product, I think it would be Fabuloso because it's a pleasant scent, but it's super aggressive.
That's
And I
me.
feel
And
like
that's
that's
me
it.
in a nutshell.
Yeah,
I creep up with the charm and then rawr.
that's you and me. We're just aggressive love embodied.
Cheetah girl.
I do have an aggressive body. Have you seen it? Look at my body.
Max, don't.
Actually, you know what's funny is I swear I predicted this because I wore one of PJ's old shirts that he gave me.
This is true. That is an old shirt that I gave you.
I swear I predicted this because, Dan, do you see what's on my shirt?
Dennis.
Tennis. It's tennis.
I don't understand that joke, but okay.
Maxwell and I went to tennis once.
There's not
True.
much to it, honestly.
That was
Okay,
fun.
fair.
That's
I'd
pretty
go to
much
tennis
the,
again.
the short
Look
of the
at
joke.
fucking Hogue now. He's on his phone or some shit. He's not even paying attention anymore to any of the stuff going on. He's just being an asshole about everything.
think
There's
about
only you know how
listening.
I would describe Hogue right now.
See, but Max, you said I didn't warn people. I warned people I had a job.
I'll
for
tell you
the
this
past
much:
3
you didn't
weeks.
warn me about that haircut.
I didn't get a
Wow.
haircut.
Exactly.
Do you know? Max, you'll understand this. Do you know who he reminds me of with that haircut? Not like that. Don't make that face. Pat, stop making that face.
Billy Loomis.
Well, now with that face, yes. But before, when he took it down, he shook it out. He reminded me of Jared Catalano.
Oh, okay. Back when Jared Leto was palatable.
Yeah, exactly. When he was attractive and not leading a
Max,
sex.
what do you say to that?
I think he just said it.
Good,
Well,
good
now
for you.
Don't
Good
I
for you.
feel pretty inconsequential. Folks, if this is the roast of Pat, man, dog, do I feel pretty inconsequential right now? Let me tell you.
This is better than a Comedy Central roast.
You know, I watched this
Sure,
short
sure.
film a couple months ago called "Good Guy with the Gun," and the whole time I'm watching it, I kept waiting for the good guy, like suggesting that there be like good acting or promising elements. Where's the good guy? All I saw was a gun. Nothing good about that.
The Gun was the best actor in the movie.
The Gun was by far the best performer in the film.
And you wonder why I take so long to be a part of your content. And you wonder why I want to, like, involve myself when I see this such inviting
All right, look,
community.
Diet Michael J. Fox, quiet down.
Rachel, I love
That would-
you.
Honestly-
Okay, hold on.
Hold on,
Diet
PJ.
Michael J. Fox. Do you remember when they made that Dr. Pepper 10 for men? He's like the Dr. Pepper 10 version of Michael J. Fox.
Oh my god!
Made for men, but no one wants it.
Wow.
I
I think I need to start a tally of Max's
Oh,
bard book.
Dipper. PJ pet my boy for me.
He's very worried.
Look, I've been all I'll say is I've been trying on some heels lately. Seeing how they fit.
How high are we talking? Are we talking like 3?
Oh, honey, we're
4,
talking like 9 inches.
Woo!
We're talking like
Wait.
kinky boots up in here.
There he is. Diet Michael J. Fox is back.
Dr. Pepper 10. Dr. Pepper 10. Dr. Pepper 10.
You know it.
Hold on.
The most anyone has
time
talked
out.
about Dr. Pepper 10 in a
Time out.
decade.
I'm changing his name in the group chat.
You mean the group chat he's never in and won't notice? Because he has a job. He's working.
Look at his name on the bottom.
What?
Have you guys all sent love to Paul, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did.
Poor Paul.
Oh.
Yeah,
No human should suffer that much loss in such a short amount of time.
seriously.
It's just
Poor guy.
horrible.
Okay, this got really serious.
Sorry.
Can we make fun of Hope some more?
How I told you I can't bear children.
Hope's actually excited about that, though. He's going to cut the heat off.
PJ, I meant to tell you. Did I tell you what my favorite thing about Pat Hogue is?
No, I don't think you did. Could you go ahead and let me know?
Yeah, it's when he doesn't show up and doesn't tell anyone.
Hold on. Time out, Max. The alt for that joke is, you know what my favorite thing about Pat Hogue is? Nothing.
Stop
That was the easy joke.
But effective.
Oh,
Couldn't go
Peggy's
back to
here.
the
Hi,
acting,
Peggy.
yeah.
Yes, there was a
Hi,
dog.
Peggy.
Hello,
Peggy's been popping in
Peggy.
and out.
Hello, Peggy.
Oh, man. I'm really glad I
love
decided
Peggy.
to take an edible before we came on here.
Did you or
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course I did.
Awesome.
kidding
I'm,
me?
Peggy too.
I'm just sipping on my Canadian
So-
whiskey.
Pat, tell us about the last time you did cocaine.
It's not the same show every time you guys take over.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I was working off a script here. Are you trying to tell me I'm off book?
You're off book.
Okay,
Yeah.
noted.
Yeah, we're off book tonight.
So, Pat, tell me about the last time you let a hooker blow coke in your asshole. Is The Wolf of Wall Street not your cinema memoir? Cinememoir? Cinememoir?
Can I point out that Mike K makes a great point that every time one of us from the network is over here, everything goes to complete fucking chaos by the time it's over. My interview, Sean's interview, now Hogue's interview.
Just wait until I'm the interview subject.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking fire.
There would be a
To be
parade.
fair, have you guys noticed that I've literally spaced you out at perfect intervals to allow this? This is not just random shit. Like this is
A
very
deliberate
specific.
act of scheduling and planning.
It's
So Rachel is
almost as
QAnon
if-
confirmed.
Shut the fuck up, PJ. Shut the fuck up.
So, Pat, when you were at the Capitol building on January 6th,
Oh my god, no. No.
We
To
just
the
we're
FBI
not-
agents
No,
who just
finish-
tuned in.
Finish,
Welcome.
finish that statement. Finish what you're
We're-
thinking about that.
We're all completely of age, even though we're all safe at home imbibing substances.
We're talking to the FBI agents who are now watching this stream.
Phil,
So, Maxwell,
John,
thank
good to
you.
see
Yeah.
ya.
Actually,
Seth,
it's
it's been a little while, actually. I hope you're well.
really funny. Before you guys
Did
came on, I was
Dolores
telling
get the
Pat about
cookies?
how
I don't know, but apparently Gloria got fired.
oh,
It's about
What?
time, that bitch.
oh God, was that. The other night, we were all we were proposing new categories for the Schmodown wheel. I think my favorite one was in the category of "Who's that bitch?"
Yeah.
That bitch.
or in Star Wars. So I propose that we add like a picture element, like a picture will come up on the screen. So in Star Wars, it's like, which starship is this?
Right.
No one can tell. Who can tell?
It's the same
like
Star
people in
Destroyer.
Star Wars League.
Maybe. I'm
I can probably name like 3 of them.
trying to remember some of our other great categories.
Oh fuck.
I really like Who's That Bitch.
Need to. Oh,
I would
I'm gonna-
love to have that category.
I'm gonna
And
take
see-
notes on this one, you know.
the thing is, the answer to "Who's that bitch?" It's always me because I'm 100% that bitch.
I'm always that bitch. Yeah.
No, but the real thing is, so in the category of "Who's that bitch?" which famous canine actor starred in The Artist?
He passed away.
Don't know.
Betsy?
The answer is Uggy.
Uggy.
Oh.
Late, great Uggy. Put respect on his name.
Does he have an IMDb page?
I'm sure.
I mean, I actually have a question that applies to that category then.
Let's hear it.
What's the name of the dog that
Yes.
appears in Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil?
Mm.
Yes, Uggy was in
And
What's Up,
people
Star?
say that I
What's Up,
ask
Star?
questions in the show about movies that people have never watched.
I
went-
love that movie.
Uggy did go
remember it
uncredited in the
existing.
campaign.
Well, the answer is Ugga because the actual dog is named Ugga, and it's the University of Georgia's it's the mascot, the bulldog,
The bulldog.
in a long line of Uggas. I got to pet an Ugga. It was great. Yeah, they have.
Yeah, long time ago.
And then didn't you get yelled at for asking a question about the Sandlot because
No,
somebody didn't like it and they can go fuck themselves with sandpaper?
no, it was Remember the Titans. Everyone gets mad every time we put a Remember the Titans question.
I always remember the Titans, PJ. Always.
I mean, as one does, because that's remembering the Titans is the most important part of that movie.
Well, I mean, to be fair, if you pay attention to anything, you pay attention to the fucking title and you follow it remember the Titans.
Look, even Will Patton says it in the movie. You have to blitz all night and make sure that they remember the night that they face the Titans. So come on, man. Remember the goddamn Titans.
Who?
Huh?
See, that's why I love you, Peggy.
She gets it.
Peggy's the best. Peggy and I talked for like 3 hours. We had like a 3-hour call after our first like faction meeting. And it literally got to the point where it was like 3:00 in the morning her time, and we were like, we should probably get off the phone.
She loves the American president as much as I love the American president because she was in our chat the night that we watched it, and I was like, Peggy's like the coolest person now.
Oh, she's awesome.
I mean, look, she seems great. I can't wait to watch her actually compete in the show.
We're going to Soldier Field to watch a Bears game next time she goes to Chicago.
You guys see the shit that Brandy's trying to stir up down here?
Wait, is Pat Hogue still here?
I don't know if Hogue is bored of his interview, but I'm certainly bored of Hogue.
Boo, stop.
Chaos.
I feel like we should just end the show and just hang out.
You know what? I say we do it, and then if anyone in the chat wants to come hang out, we'll make it happen.
Well, I feel like that would just...
Hi, everybody.
I feel like we would need to invite more people than is allowed by StreamYard.
We have a Zoom. I pay for it.
All right. If you want to throw the link, if you want to throw a Zoom link in the chat, we can go hang out there. Because as much as I love you guys, there are some things that we want to talk about that should not be fucking recorded.
One of those was probably
like every other time you guys have taken over my show.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is the first time for me.
Didn't you come on for Sean's?
I don't remember.
I think we were all very, very inebriated.
Probably.
PJ, throw it into the private chat too.
I'll throw everything in. I need to drop out of this though, so Zoom will actually let me turn my camera on. So I'll see you guys over there.
All right.
And how are we gonna get the link?
I'm gonna put it in the chat, like the actual chat.
Oh, it's just an open call.
Yeah,
get in line, bitches. It's time to tap dance.
Okay, bye.
Well, look, I just want to say on behalf of Rachel Silvestrini, thank you so much for tuning in for Music, Movies, and Mayhem. Rachel was the music, Pat was the movies, and I, as always, was the motherfucking mayhem. Tune in next week when her guest will be...
It will be Darina!
Oh,
there it is.
It's
amazing.
Off the chain. Also, Sunday, if you're a Patreon or want to be a Patreon, join. We're hanging out at 4 p.m. on Sunday. We hang out the last Sunday of every month at 4 p.m. Have a lot of fun. You can join the Patreon. It's a blast. Still working on adding a whole bunch of different things because now I have massive amounts of time. I lie because now we're in study mode for factions. And PJ just sent out the link. I think it should be in the comments soon. So yeah, guys, come hang out next week. It's going to be me and Darina, and we're going to be talking a whole bunch of like crazy, fantastic music. She loves her movies too, and I'm sure the mayhem will be just as entertaining. So for all of us here at the Rachel Silvestrini Network.
He can't put the link in there because he's not a mod, so it's not going to come up as the link.
Oh,
So
I don't have mods. Yeah, hold on. Let me copy it over from the Twitter.
There you go.
Because apparently I am now my mother, and I call it the Twitter. Jesus Christ. Save. Copy link. Jesus Christ.
This is great TV is what this is.
This is great viewing.
Everybody likes a little mayhem at night.
All right. That should be the link. Ooh, as my neck cracks. Does that work?
Wait, what? What cracked?
My neck.
Okay.
Yes, it's there. It's good.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna sign off, and we'll see you over there. So again, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you.
Patreon. Otherwise, I will see you next week with Darina. And pay attention to the show.
I love you.
Thank you for coming.
You all. And thank you for being on, Pat, and thank you for harassing the fuck out of us, Paul and Dan and Maxwell. And we are out of here. Now we all have to do my favorite part, the awkward dance off. And